Mm-hmm.
What happened? Oh, looks
I've
like
started
we're.
recording.
Oh, you don't need to record yet.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
shit. We
Why didn't
didn't.
we do that before
We didn't do the
doing mine?
checks. Yeah, we didn't do the. See, I knew I was forgetting something. All right, so then I'll go ahead and we'll do that right now. Hold on. Mel, you have your recording ready to go?
What episode is it?
78.
Yeah.
Right. Do I have everything I don't need open, closed? Okay. Is up. Sweet, sweet. All right. Everybody start recording now. Okay, mine's doing that stupid thing. There it goes. Everybody recording?
Good.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do 2 checks and then a clap. 3, 2, 1, check.
Check.
3, 2, 1, check.
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 Now the clap. 3, 2, 1. And then let it be silent for a second, but don't mute. Sorry about that longer pause, but someone upstairs decided to move like a table or something right when we started. Naismith, do you have that? I forgot to ask. Do you have that mic mute?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I'm using
good.
it.
Cool. Yeah, because that'll help a lot when doing the edit, not having to search for those kids and stuff. Okay, now let me fill up my drink and then we will go. Everybody say
Oh,
hi to chat. What's up?
the kids are back in their bedrooms. I have made it clear we need to be quiet.
Oh, awesome.
Nah. Let him go crazy.
It's movie night. I think we're watching Wall-E tonight.
Ooh.
It's one of their favorites.
I love Wally. I didn't think I'd like Wally. I don't know why, but it was awesome.
It's a great movie. It's one of the
Oh,
few kids movies that I can stand.
yeah.
I have seen 101 Dalmatians over 40 times.
Ooh. Dude, we had a 101 Dalmatians like type of event over here. We were taking our dogs out, and I'm not even kidding you. It sounded like there was 100 dogs like whining at the same time in the neighborhood, and I was like, "What is happening?"
Dude, what I love
Like they were
about.
talking to each other.
Yeah, that was a weird thing. What I love about Wally though is it predicted the future. Like so well. And all those people are like in the chairs and they're just watching the screen. It's literally real life now. Just people
That
doing this.
that is disturbingly true
Yeah,
to an
it's
extent.
nuts. Um oh, thank you guys for showing up in the chat, Nettie and Fru. How you guys doing?
Hi, chat. It's wonderful to be back.
All right. Right, I think I am good to go.
As always, it's a pleasure to watch you work.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
All right. Okay, this is just for me.
Hold on, my sound went off.
Oh shit. You made sure to have your headphones or your desktop speakers set to Adobe, right?
Yeah, I can hear you, but okay.
Mega Man, welcome to the chat. Oh, hey,
Oh,
Mel, did that mess up your audio?
no,
Because you have the audio set to
my mic.
the desktop speakers. Are you okay? You have it set to your mic speaker. All right, this was just for me. Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic and its community. I am Bobby, also known as Blazin' Bob, and today we're joined by Mel, aka Melarina. How you doing?
Hi, I'm
Hi,
good. How are
good.
you?
Doing wonderful. I'm doing wonderful. Unfortunately, we have no Ryan, aka the Yip Show today because he woke up sick and we were going to postpone until tomorrow so he could still come on, but he was pretty sure there was no possible way he was going to feel good enough to do the show. So we wish him well, tweet at him at the Yip Show to tell him we hope he feels better and hopefully he will be on next week. But instead, we have special guest Naismith. Welcome back to the show, Naismith.
Thank you. Wonderful to be back. I don't think we've talked since that marathon of me talking for about an hour trying to help you guys beat Kale.
Did was
And we
that
did.
it, was that before or after we met up in person at Planet Comic Con in Kansas City?
Oh, that was after, because
Was it
Hmm.
after?
that was like in August, wasn't it? That was just God. That was a long time ago, wasn't it?
I remember it was really hot.
It was really hot, and I bought my son a foam sword
Yep.
Hmm.
that
Legend
he
of
loves.
Zelda. Yep. It
Yeah.
was Link's sword.
Did he like it?
Oh, he loved it. My daughter loved it even more. She couldn't care less that I got her a baby Yoda.
She's like,
Um,
"Oh, that's cool, Dad."
she wants a sword.
But yeah, give me a
I
sword.
yeah, I need to get her a sword.
Well, that's actually coming back sooner rather than later because they're getting back to their normal time now.
Yeah, March. I think I'll probably be going again. It's
Yeah, and
a good
it's
time.
so much more fun because it's not so hot. So the cosplayers have a way better time. Everything's better. It was really a weird con this last year, and I'm hoping it gets back to form this next year. All right,
I
guys. What's up?
I do too. Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, it really is. All right, guys. Well, we're going to have a great show today. First off, I'd like to remind everybody we do stream live at twitch.tv/mash those buttons. Come in, say hi to us. It's usually Friday nights. Follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded if you want to know when we go live. We tweet out every time. That being said, we're going to start out with some reviews. Then we also have what we've been doing lately in WoW, and then we might go over a little bit of raid progress, but not much. I mean, Yip's not here to do his awesome storytelling, and there really wasn't much that went on. Um,
Oh, I have one thing to talk about.
we'll definitely talk about it. It's just not going to be long, and then we're going to get into the news. There's some Burning Crusade news, but there is no WoW Classic news that I know of. Let's Chat lets me know of some. And then at the end of the show, we're probably going to talk about PTR with Naismith because he had the pleasure of running some. So that being said, let's jump into the reviews. Oh, so since Yip isn't here, we didn't feel that any one person could actually do justice to how he reads them. So we're gonna do one from each of us, and hope that works out. It's not going to be as good as Yip, but you know what? The show must go on. So first off, this is from Australia, from Down Under. It is titled "Great Podcast for Classic WoW Content." Warcraft Reloaded has quickly become one of my favorite podcasts. Mel, Bob, and Yip have a great rapport and a sound knowledge of the classic WoW scene. Oh, he
Can we just
put
point out
Mel
that
in
he put
front.
Mel first?
Yep, and Yip last. Oh, boy.
That was very, very accurate.
The fact that they didn't mention friend of the show Naismith, I think, is a slight that I will never forgive.
Well, I think 2 of these reviews do mention the guests, so they share their experiences in the game, including updates on their rating progress, their other activities in-game, and even their experiences attempting the hardcore challenge and Season of Mastery. They regularly bring on guests with expertise on classes, raids, and PvP content that add an extra depth to their show. As they report on the latest WoW Classic news and provide their own insights and thoughts on each piece. The highlights of their segments are their stories of progression, as they share frustrations with learning mechanics, the roster boss, and their successes as they down bosses. I will definitely continue to listen to the crew and Warcraft Reloaded and encourage you to do the same. Thank you so much. He didn't really sign a name, so I don't really want to say his actual real name, but thank you so much, Mr. B, for the review and yeah, awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Mel, do you want to take the next one?
I can. Yes. All right. It is an Apple Podcast review. 5 stars. It says the best podcast. It says, "Hey guys." Oh, it's from Bogey One. So he says, "Hey guys, first off, I'd like to say that I thoroughly enjoy this podcast. You all do a great job of keeping me coming back and waiting patiently for your next episodes. I think it's a great mix of viewpoints, and the three of you mesh really well. Also, the guests you have on are amazing. Yep, welcome to the age of the bear. I'm glad to hear you finally came around to the druid, even though we know the warrior is your jam. Seriously, though, I've been playing Druid since Classic, and I'm so happy we finally get some time in the sun. A class that's been pretty average and everything during Classic has come to life in TBC, and it's exciting. Anyway, your tanking perspective really helps me, so now I can relate even more. Keep doing what you're doing, guys, because the show is the blast. Thanks again, your boy, Bear Boy from Farolina. Thanks, Bear
Now,
Boy.
what's what's weird, and I don't know if it's the same person, but I had 2 different people come in to my chat this last week. Twitch.tv/BlazedBob. And I had 2 people come in, and both of them were mad at Yip for switching to Bear, and one of them was Galley Boy, and Boy was spelled the same way, but I don't remember if it was 2 I's at the end or just 1 I. But he was pretty upset with Yip for changing, so was
Yeah, I
hoping
don't
Yip
think
would
that's
be
the
on the
same
show.
person.
But Bear Boy, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you have to jump in my chat and let me know if that is you, Galley. But the next one we're gonna have our guest read.
Well, this review is 5 stars. I don't know what it's from, but it's from written by Dadestria. Says 5 stars. Tuned into your podcast at the beginning of TBC since Josh's show turned into other MMOs and Classic Plus. Awesome podcast. Great information and entertainment. As someone who plays in a 10 out of 10 pre nerf guild and a 2K plus in arenas, I thoroughly enjoy tuning in every week for your trials and tribulations, game news, and add ons. Keep up the Lord's work. Biscuit Baker Dadestra. Grobulus. Say it, Yip. For the. I'm not finishing that.
So just
Come on,
because,
Naismith.
yeah, you gotta try, Day. You gotta try.
For the Alliance.
You gotta do for the
There's 4 of us.
alliance. But I will do you a favor since Yip isn't here. I will throw in the sound clip of Yip doing it right now. Okay, so
Wonderful.
yep. It's gonna be the magic later. All right, so let's move on to what
We did have
we've.
a couple other reviews that we'll read in the next couple shows, but thank you guys so much for
Oh yeah,
sending in the reviews. We really do appreciate it. It really does help us out a lot.
yeah. We did have. I just try to take them in order, but we don't want to read more than three at a time, just because it feels like it's too much when we do more than three. So we'll definitely keep them on, but definitely keep sending them though. Keep
Yeah,
sending them.
don't
Yeah.
stop.
Don't stop reviewing.
But we will read yours if you submitted one. Don't worry.
So aside from the PTR, what have we been doing lately in WoW Classic? Naismith, since you're the guest, you want to go first?
Sure. We've pretty much just been clearing everything in a single night and raid logging a lot. Um, we've also been doing way more PvP as a group than we like normally have. Some of that's because we have some people that just really love to PvP, and others is it's we want to get the trinket for some of the upcoming bosses.
Hmm.
Oh, is that going to be worthwhile?
The PvP trinket is helpful on a few fights.
Oh shoot, I better do that on lock dude then.
Oh yeah, I don't have it on Mail Arena either.
I mean, you could probably deal with the 5 minute trinket too, right? Like,
I think so.
I mean, you're
I
not going to use it twice.
You probably will on Archimond. Uh, I think that's
Uh,
how you say his name.
then maybe just get the 2 minute one. I guess the 20 resilience isn't going to be that big of a deal at all,
That
really. But
that doesn't help you, but Archimon, one of the big mechanics on that is the fact that he fears, and it's like an 8-second fear, and if you go into the fire, that does some serious damage to you. So, unless you're an undead, which I know none of you are, you have to be able to handle
I
that.
am a priest though with Fear Ward.
Shouldn't that be saved on people like
No,
tanks?
no, Naismith. With
Well,
my Fear Ward,
it's
it
just like my
actually
soul stone.
only allows me to apply it to myself.
what
Okay,
what do I
then
know?
my
I'm not a raid leader or anything. I don't know about this stuff. It's way over my head.
I'm gonna pull a Bob where Bob's like, "I meant to give you the Soul Stone, but it accidentally went on me." And I'll be like, "Yep, I meant to give you the Fear Ward. It just accidentally went on myself. I don't know." Like,
dude, I still don't know what causes that at times because I'll be clicked on her
oh,
and I'll
mhm.
click it
Range.
and it'll put it on me. Okay, so it just auto puts it on me if she's out of range?
If she's out of range, yeah, I
It should
should
just say out of range and
thing.
not let me do it, right?
Well, I think so, but I thought it was a range issue. Like if
No,
she
because it's a
goes out of
it's a
range,
spell you can cast on yourself, right? Like, if I try to cast a heal on somebody that's out of range, it just heals me.
Oh, well, then that answers exactly the question that's been driving me nuts.
this is why you bring me on, so I can solve these mysteries for you. Um,
Solve all the world's problems.
Perfect, perfect. Well, yeah, so you've been doing PvP, you've been doing, what have you been doing mostly? Like, have you
I
been
actually haven't been PvPing much. I've had some work issues come up recently, so I haven't been playing as much as normal. But I've been
s
making time. I have like I've PvP'd some, but usually it's just whatever battleground the guys are doing.
Mm.
Uh, there's a soft spot in my heart for AB. I love Arathi Basin.
that's my favorite too. It's oftentimes definitely not the best honor per hour by a long shot, but man, I love it. Like, it's so much fun.
I will say
And
this:
Warsong's the worst.
I'll actually say AB is also it's my favorite, but it can also be the worst if you're going up against a really good pre-made. Then it's just not fun because you get rolled everywhere, and there's no point.
Well, the one thing
The
that's
worst
really cool
is
though, going up against a pre-made is when you're able to actually make it so they can't 5 cap, and, like, you get a little personal win there because you're just wasting their time. I guess you're wasting yours too, but I don't know, it makes me feel good when they can't 5 cap or even 4 cap, like, there's, like, people are raging at each other and they're like, "You suck, do that," makes me feel
Yeah,
good.
I don't know, I feel like the worst is when you're equally balanced and your team just won't stay and defend anything. Like, everybody wants to be the hero, and it's like then I find myself as, like, the keyword resto druid at a place by myself, and I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm not gonna leave," and then
So
there's literally not much I can do
you're
when
talking
they
about
get
those
there.
games where no matter what, both sides only ever control 1 or 2, like,
Right, it just
nodes, and
cycles,
then they just,
like,
like, go in a circle.
yeah, it's everybody's running at the same pace, and it's like, "This is worthless, guys," like, oh my gosh.
Oh, I've had plenty of those in my time. They
Same
are
with Eye of the
they are
Storm.
irritating as fuck.
Dude,
Yeah, Eye of
Eye
the
of the
Storm is the
Storm is
same
a
way, right? Where it's like, you just rotate towers, and it's just like, "What are we doing?"
See, my problem is I fixate on some guy that just annoys me on the other team, and usually it's one that, like, it has an absurd amount of, like, resilience, so my dots are ticking for literally nothing on this person, but I'm determined, I'm like, "I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. I'm going to do it."
dude, if you
And
go SL and get full gear, like, you become a monster.
oh, you do, but that would require playing
A
way more
lot of
arenas than
work.
I'm gonna be
Right?
willing to do.
No, my favorite is when I find, like, a jerk that, like, kills me in a horrible way or shouldn't have killed me and did, and then I just announce it to everybody that I'm playing with, and I'm like, "If you see this person, you murder them. I don't care what they're doing." Everybody's on the hunt.
See,
Love it.
I get a Naismith, "What the fuck are you doing?" It's like, "I'm killing this guy. We need
Yeah.
you over here." "No, not
This
happening.
guy's
I'm killing
priority,
this
yeah.
guy."
This is a personal vendetta. This needs to happen.
Yeah, see, well, the thing about Eye of the Storm, I really enjoy Eye of the Storm, but I don't enjoy doing it unless, like, we have at least a 5-man, like, pre-made because people, like, they there's 2 different ways to win the game, and people fixate on certain ones, and they're
One or the
like
other.
yeah, and they're like, "We need to get 3 bases." But what you don't realize is with 1 base and just constantly running flag, you win, even if they have 3 even if they have 3. So it's like
Yeah, shout out to Jasmine for giving us the numbers about how much, like, extra you get for capping a flag with how many bases, right? And you really like, the big jump is at 4. Like, if you have 4, it's basically an insta win when you're capping flags, but if you
Yeah,
have 1, 2, or 3, it's like a very small incremental.
it's yeah, it's either 5 or 10. I think it's 10 more each 10 more points each one, but if you're constantly running a flag with just 1, I mean, you're going to win. So, like, let them have them 3. It's just like you can't go in and just have a base strategy. You have to, like, change, and people aren't willing to change, and then they just fight the whole time and chat. It's just like, "Oh my god."
I think it's more than 10, though, I just wanna put that out there.
I will say this, like, PvP a lot of times brings out the worst in the community. Like, people get irrational in the chats really quickly, even on Discord as well.
Yep, it definitely brings out the worst, but nothing else, though, to report on the game?
Sadly, that's there right now. I've spent most of my time has been spent on the PTR, looking at like the new stuff, trying to figure out what I want to do for strats for our group, realizing that the trash is not nearly as hard as I remember. Uh, but we'll get into that later.
Cool, 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 yeah, and, you're still leading the guild?
Leading the raid, I
Raid,
don't.
raid.
I have no desire to lead a guild. that
I've no desire to do either.
that sounds
Okay.
like uh, that sounds bad.
I found it though. 1 tower, you get 75 points, 2, you get 85, 3, you get 100, and 4, you get 500.
Okay, so it was 10 from 1 to 2, and then 15 from 2 to 3.
I mean, that's what this website says. I have not checked on the accreditation of the website, so
Gotcha, gotcha. Are you still running Affy, Nay?
Yes, I am for the most part. Occasionally, every once in a while, I'll be like, I'm sick of this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to stare at dot timers for a week. So I'll just go back. I'll play Destro. It's so much easier. Like I do 30% more damage too, so it's a little irritating
Yeah,
how easy it is.
the one thing that would be cool, though, about being Affy is so much easier to parse higher because there's so fewer people playing Affy. Like, at most there's 1 per raid, where there's 3 to 5 locks per raid, like, it's gotta be
It
nice to be able to get them higher parses because there's less people in the pool. Like, I kinda wanted to go Affy for a bit just to do that.
The issue is, especially with my guild, is we don't get as affliction. I don't get an Ellie shaman. I have to make do with a resto shaman, or sometimes with none, and just having a shadow priest in my group.
Yep.
We've had to, for the first time in about 16 months, my guild had to recruit new people, and we got some great new people, and I'm really happy they're there. And one of them's a resto shaman that keeps totems down really well, which makes me very happy. But there are times as an affliction where like I couldn't really parse one because as a leader I'm trying to keep an eye on what everyone's doing, how the fight's going, what's happening all around, people calling stuff out. Doing that on top of trying to like keep on top of my 4 dots properly is not very easy. In fact, it's pretty hard.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's you always wonder, like, what the best class is to raid lead with, and I think the answer is none. 'Cause you're you're always going to run into that problem where I think the best class to raid lead as is the 26th man, like the guy that's not in raid, just watching 3 or 4 different perspectives over Discord, I think that's probably the best.
I'll be honest. We had an issue, and I actually died on KT this week for our kill, and it was so easy to just sit there and call stuff out without having to worry about my character.
Oh,
Yep,
Just,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's
just
why
Our raid
the
leader got
mythic raiders
banned.
do it.
Our raid leader got banned, and he, like, still did the raid leading while he was banned, and it was great.
oh, geez.
Yeah, but, yeah, that's a whole 'nother thing you know, we've gotten into it before, but parsing uh parsing in TBC is just like it's bullshit. I mean, it's literal bullshit, like, it's group makeup, and you have to be lucky enough
What?
or ornery enough to
The the
wait,
thing about
hold on, Mel, what's up? What's wrong?
Sorry, my mic mute's not working.
Oh, just go down to devices and make sure it's clicked on the Rode
It is.
Podcaster.
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
yes.
Oh, mm,
Your mic mute's not working?
sorry.
Huh.
I
Maybe
was just gonna
close it
say,
and start it over or something?
uh, TBC is the height of Blizzard's like bring the class, not the player, and you can do so many things to buff 1 or 2 people's DPS to almost absurd degrees, and that makes parsing really difficult. Like as a warlock, you can throw them multiple bloodlusts. As a you can give them shaman, like Ellie shaman to be sure to get the that totem, boomkins. Make sure you have a shadow priest in there to give them extra mana. Like there's all sorts of things you can do just to boost one person's DPS.
Yep,
You're right. Parsing in TBC is hard and at times bullshit.
yep, and I mean, this is coming from a guy that's generally in the group that gets all the buffs, that gets all the love, and I think it's bullshit. I think it's unfair to other people, and it's one of the reasons I can't wait for Wrath, and, there's very little of that in Wrath since everything's shared. Even Bloodlust is shared in Wrath, which is great.
It's
I
true.
just couldn't give two hoots about parsing.
Well, yeah, healing parsing is rough, but, before we move on, again, Mel, do you have your stuff fixed?
Yeah, I think it's good.
Test your mic mute real quick.
Yeah,
Good,
I already
good deal,
tested it. You
good
couldn't hear
deal.
me.
Well, I for one am excited about this development.
Well, as
I
for
coughed and I was like looking at my audition and I was like, why is it coming through? I muted my mic. What's happening? So I apologize for the cough in the mic.
yeah, I was so thrown off too. I was like, "This is okay, Mel." It's like, what are you doing? All right, but
Yeah.
this is just for me for the edit. All right, so as for us, we have been raid logging in TBC, and there's nothing wrong with that. We'll get talking about when we do raid. We'll talk about what we did this last weekend in raid, but we've still been going hardcore on hardcore, and yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll go first, Mel. And you can cover what happened to us the other night in our duos. But for me, I've been in what Wiki calls the shadow zone on my solo rogue, where I'm trying to rush back to where I was before. So the last time we had talked, I had drowned for something stupid, and so I worked my next rogue up to level 19, and I was in that cave that fucks, the one in Duskwallow Marsh where you get the 5 blue mushrooms and the 1 golden cap or death cap, I think it's called. And I'm in stealth. I've got all 5 of the regular ones. I'm trying to go get the gold one, and I drop just barely. Like, it didn't look like it'd be a drop that you would take damage, but I took like 8 damage and it took me out of stealth, and I was screwed at that point. I had 3 on me, and freaking what sucks even more is that I showed Wiki the clip later, and about 5 feet from where I was, there was an evade spot in the cave that I could have survived on. So I was upset. I immediately made a like I deleted that tune, immediately made another one, rushed up to level 8, and then died at level 8 again, just like an hour and a half later. I was about to throw stuff, and then I made another character the same day and got back to 10. But man, it's been a rough go for me on the solo. Although now I am back to 24 on my rogue. So it's the 5th rogue, back to 24 now. And yeah, it's been nuts. But Naismith, have you played any hardcore?
I don't. I have not played any hardcore. I haven't played a single minute of Season of Mastery. Um, I've never seen the appeal of hardcore personally. I think I admire the people that do it, but to me, it goes against like what I think is a good part of World of Warcraft, which is uh, learning from your failures in a not punishing way.
Well, I would agree with that to an extent, but when I learned from these failures, I really learned. Like when I drowned, I think I told you this in the pre-show. When I drowned that time, like now every time, I instead of having my breath bar at the very top, I have it right on top of my character because I'm like, this death is not going to happen again. Period. And then that fall damage, that shit ain't gonna happen again either. Like
Yeah.
I had no clue that you took fall damage from that low of a jump. Like, I just had no idea. But, like, I mean, Mel and I were like you. We were like, "It's fun to watch, but there's no way I'll ever do it." And then, if you try it, man, you never know.
Don't do it. Don't try it because you'll be hooked, right?
Yeah, that's some of it is avoiding temptation. Like with 2
Yeah,
kids, the last thing I need is another reason to like stare at my
right.
computer for like 6 hours a day.
Mhm.
It's bad enough that I raid 2 to 3 nights a week.
Oh, and,
Wait.
Fru in the chat, corrected me. It's the cave in Darkshore, not Duskwallow. I always, mix those up.
Bob mixes a lot of things up.
Yeah,
Um,
I say dire mall when I mean dead mines, and yeah, it's bad.
yeah. But Bob, I went to the bathroom and I missed it, I think. Did I hear you say you died again today?
No, no, I didn't die today. I'm back up to 24. I died twice
Oh,
in that one
I thought
day.
you said I'm back up to 4. Like, when
Oh,
I got
no.
back on, I thought I heard you say I'm back up to 4, and I was like, 4? You can literally get 4 in 3 minutes. Like, what are you doing?
No, back up to 24, got my
Okay.
poisons again at 22, and I'm back to rolling now. Once I get to 31, I'll be changing to hemo prep spec, and I think I'm home free from that point on. I'm taking it slow. I'm not being dumb. Well, I'm being a little dumb at times, but not super dumb.
Yeah. So, our duo, um so we're at 35, and we go to Stranglethorn Vale? I can't believe I
Yep,
didn't remember that. I'm so
STV.
bad at, like, zones.
Oh god,
Um,
STV.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Okay,
and
so
let me
it's
preface
not
this. Let me preface this before she goes. The entire time we're there, I'm freaking out and like going, okay, we got to be really careful when we do this. Okay, we got to be really careful when we do this. And Mel's like, Bob, shut up. We're fine.
dude, it was so annoying. Like, he could have just said it, like, in a different way. He was being very annoying.
I was being very
Well
Yeah,
scared.
well, STV is notorious for having people getting ganked. Like, it's
right, but we're on a PvE server,
oh,
Yeah, I was just trying to point
that's a
out to
big
her
difference.
that like
right?
you can just walk a few steps at STV and go from level 34 mobs to level 45 mobs.
That's true.
If you don't know where you're going and like because Mel initially when we first got there started running us to a quest that we're supposed to do way later, and it was all like mobs 2 levels higher than us and very dense. And that's another thing about the zone. All the mobs are so dense. There's mobs everywhere.
If you get into trouble there in the wrong spot, running out is not really an option. Like,
Oh,
it's
Yeah.
also, like there's jerks PvP flagged standing on like every quest mob. Like,
Mhm.
but I got a great tip today from Go Jojo Go. You can go in for anybody that's got this problem because Mel and I were doing slash target space the quest giver's name and then doing an interact with target macro. But instead, you can just go in your options and click uh, interact with target on left click. You never have to right click an NPC again. Such a huge thing for hardcore. So just wanted to throw that tip out and thank you to Go Jojo Go.
Yeah. So, we're questing in STV, and it's going fine. Bob's, like, freaking out because we were at what's the, like, I don't know, this place where we have to kill these medics to get this one drop that
Yeah, it's the
is
death zone.
ridiculously not coming.
We were going for what's
So
it?
we go there.
Jungle juice?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. I
jungle
think maybe.
something.
jungle juice is the drink you have when you are 20 years old in college
It's
and you're
jungle
at a
something.
party.
Chat
Right.
can like help me out, but it's in the very northeast corner. It's the camp that's got they're like something like healers, and then it's got the warriors, and then there's a little
Yeah,
cave
the
there.
medic. This is the ones we wanted, right? Okay, so either way, so we go there when we first get there, and I think we're like 31, 32, maybe. And we first get there and Bob's like freaking out and I was like, "Fine, let's just go to other quests, like whatever." So we go do the basilisks and the crocodiles and something else, I don't remember.
Jungle remedy is what they
Oh,
are.
jungle remedy, yeah. And then we do, like, the tigers. So we get all those done, and so this is, like, the last thing we have to do before we go turn in and stuff. And so we go back, and at this point, we're 35. So we must've been, like, 33, I feel like, when we got there.
We were 34.
Oh, okay.
'Cause we
we're
hadn't
s
turned in most of the quests yet. We had completed them, but hadn't turned
yeah,
them
yeah,
in.
yeah. Okay. So we go back and we kill all the, like, things that we needed to kill. There was, like, the warriors that we had to kill, and then we have to get this jungle remedy, and it just will not drop. Like, we have run around this place. We went into the cave, and we only went halfway into the cave because the, like, back end of the cave is super scary, like 12 different mobs that are just, like, right there, and you only need, like, one of them out of the 12, so it just wasn't worth it. So we'd go in and out of the cave. We'd walk around in this circle around this stupid camp, getting the outliers, right? So Bob then is like, "I'm gonna go to the bathroom and get a drink," and I was like, "Okay." He's like, "You just wanna walk around the outside while
Now
I'm gone?"
just
And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine."
now just to say, like, I'd been saying a few times, like, maybe we should just skip this quest, like, cause we literally had 3 each, and you needed 7 each, and we'd killed, God, at least
Oh, like,
80 of the
yeah,
mobs. We'd been running in a
easy.
circle on this stupid thing and fighting other people for the mob tags and yada, yada, yada. I was just ready to throw in the towel, but yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So I feel like the longer and longer we go, the less and less we, like,
The more
are paying attention to everything else, you
the more
know?
complacent we got.
Right? And there's a lot of other people in the zone, which when we first went there was nobody else there. So it was, like, super scary, right? Because these mobs run too. So when they get low, they run, and you're always scared they're gonna run into another mob. But when we came back, it was like there wasn't any other mobs because everybody had killed everything. And so Bob goes to the bathroom. I'm sitting there and I'm, like, running along the outside like we've done 1,000 times at this point, and I, like, run past the barn, and I hear this, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah," right? And I'm like and I stop. I'm like, "What is that?" And then I see these, like, 7 mobs come from the barn and towards me, and I'm like, "No!" And I, like, scream for Bob to come back to the computer. We I run the wrong way, but I was running away from the mobs, but I should have run the other way because I ran towards the other mobs. Um, and then they net, and so I'm shielding, taking a heal pot, like, there's no way. And Bob comes back to the computer, and I'm not gonna lie, until I watched the stream of this a couple times, I was like, Bob. He comes back to the computer and just sits there and is like,
I completely
like, super
froze.
froze. Super froze.
Did you blue screen?
Dude, I completely froze. So, I'll give you what when she said "in trouble," in my head, I thought, "Oh, she pulled 3. No big deal. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna just AoE taunt, and, like, I'm gonna get him off, and we're gonna be fine." And I get back, and I just see 7, well, it was 8 at that point because she pulled 7 from the barn with, if you add the dogs in, and then another 8th was at the top of the cave, one of those rogue guys that fucking stuns with a long ass stun. And I get there and I sit down and I'm like, oh. And I tell her to run and she says I'm netted. And I was like, oh God, they net too. And I'm just like, and then I think in my head, okay, just AoE taunt. And then I thought, well, they'll kill me instantly, so I better not do that. I was like, what else could I do? I accidentally switched to cat. I'm like, well, that's not gonna work. And I switched back to bear, and then like she's dead, and I'm just like, oh no. And it sucks too because after she died, I just ran into the barn to test. And it took him a good while to kill me, so I should have AoE taunted. Also, Mel later on thought about it. She should have fucking feared. Like she didn't even use fear. And
Yeah.
she used a potion, but she could have used a free action potion instead of her healing potion. Like there was a lot of mistakes made, but I literally just froze, and I should have never went AFK without either getting out of that area or begging Mel to stand still. Like but I wanted to get out of there. We had walked in a circle so many times. We had pulled 3 and been completely
We had walked
fine.
by that barn a good 40
Forever.
times
Like, all I could think of
without with the nobody pulls those mobs in there, so those were there the whole time,
y
right? Like,
well, I
maybe
don't
one
know.
person pulled them.
All
No,
I
I
could
do know.
Well, all I can think of is while we were in the cave or something, somebody cleared the mobs, and then when mobs respawn, sometimes one's a higher level. It's possible like one because they saw you through the window, but I don't think you took any smaller of a angle around the barn than you had taken every time prior, and so I just
Right.
don't like, I wonder if it's because I was on follow, you turned a little too early and it turned me into him or something, but it was it was heartbreaking because we had we'd just gotten to the point 35 where you're getting all your stuff and you're really just rolling, and just to have that happen, and then, and chat was trying to warn us like, "Hey, be really careful here, be really careful here." I've seen so many people, so many hardcores die even just today at this, and,
Well,
it
let
was
me
just
just
like,
point
why
out
didn't we
how
just leave? We
how
didn't need to do that quest. We could have done it later, have come back and done it later or something. Like, why did we stay?
okay, well, let me point out how events transpired after this event. So, when Bob killed us, Mel said, "It's all right. I didn't die. I'm better than you, but let's go again. Like, we're good. It's fine." When Mel kills us, Bob, like, won't talk to me. He's like, "That was just so stupid." And, like, he's just drilling in. Like, he knows I feel bad about pulling the mobs. I don't know how I pulled the mobs, but he knows I feel bad about pulling the mobs. Did Bob comfort me? Did Bob give me a hug?
This is
No.
bullshit. You can go back to my stream and watch it, and I'm just sitting there just beaten down. Like, just like, "Oh,
Yes, but you were
no."
not trying to help me.
But I did later. I was just trying to, like
Mm,
was trying to and then I got, like, mad at chat and, like, I was taking it out on chat, like, someone in chat, like, made a comment that, like, kinda struck home for me, and I apologized quickly after, but it was just like, ugh. It's just it's so much, like, you have all this work, and we had, like, the Swift pods, and we had all kinds of cool shit, like, and just to lose it all in an instant because I was stupid enough to go AFK in an extremely dangerous area. It kills me. So, like, I honestly, I thought I told you that I never really blamed you. I blamed myself for going AFK and then freaking like just freezing when I came back. Like, I was not expected to see what I saw. I was trying to like my brain was trying to make sense of where all these mobs came from. I thought like maybe
trying
we
to
got
process.
like griefed or something, like a rogue pulled or a hunter pulled and then feigned and or
Mm-mm.
vanished. But watching the clip over again, it does not look like anybody griefed. It just was a freak thing. Like
It
and
was
it
very sad.
yeah, and it just it was rough. It was so rough. But then
So we delete our 35s, which is sad. But we're back up to we only played, like, for a very short time that night, and then we didn't play last night because I was super tired.
yeah, we played
So,
long enough to get to an end to at least feel like we
yeah, I think
were
we're at, like,
getting
level
rest.
5.
Even though we're at level 5 getting rest, it still feels better.
Yes.
Well, that was quite the journey. I have to admit, I'm sorry that you guys had to suffer that loss of characters.
Thank
At their that it was level 35 that you were at.
Level
Yeah.
35. And
Gee.
we make Mel looked at her slash played the first time we died at level 30. We make a point not to look at that now because it depresses you even more.
True.
I have made a point to never type that in after in 2010, it was like you have on a character that I've been playing in I think it was in Wrath of the Lich King, it's like, "You have 170 days played," and I'm like, I don't want to see that.
Well, see, for like for instance, for Blaze and Bob, it's dumb because like he was around in Classic during the start of the pandemic when the queues were like, you know, 6 hours long. So I mean, I would just literally stay logged in all day, not playing and just
Right.
refreshing, not getting logged out. So, there's 8 hours a day, you know, 5 to 6 days a week that aren't even time that I played, so it's dumb to even look at the slash played because it wasn't played really.
I get that. Yeah, the pandemic really helped get me over the hump for some of my characters. It gave me way more time to play than I thought I would have.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah, I mean, I think it was actually kinda big for World of Warcraft Classic because
I worked
definitely
all
saw a
through the pandemic, so I don't know what you guys are
spike.
talking about.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
but I'm just saying across the board.
I was one of those people that got laid off immediately when it started, so
Mm,
I
Oh,
needed something to do.
that's fair. Yeah. No, we stayed open and I mean, I worked from home a lot just because of my position. I didn't have to be in the clinic, so I shouldn't have been in the clinic, but I still had still a lot of work. I remember everybody else is like, "Well, hey, it's a pandemic. You can't do anything." And I'm like, "I'm doing a lot."
Yeah, I got a new job fairly quickly, but yeah, for about a month and a half there, I did not have a whole lot to do.
oh,
Yeah.
speaking of that, Mel didn't actually put that in our what we've been doing this last week. Mel and I, yeah, over the Christmas break got COVID.
Mm,
Oh shit.
Yep. Entire house got COVID here, and my entire
yeah.
parents' house got it. I don't think her dad's house got it, but yeah, it got
Yeah, I
us,
was
and
supposed to go to Austin this past week, and we took a couple COVID tests. His brother tested positive for COVID after we had seen him for Christmas, and so we were kind of feeling like kind of icky, not like horrible, but not great. And so we each took a COVID test, the two like home COVID tests, and they both came back negatives. We were like, okay. And then on Sunday, I was like, well, my mom was starting to feel sick, and I went to try to find her a COVID home test because they're like, very rare in the pharmacies nowadays. Um, and so I went to find her one and I was like, well, I should probably buy an extra one since I'm going out of town. I don't want to, not test myself before I go out of town. So I bought one and then it was positive. And so Bobby went and bought one and then his was positive and like everybody's was positive. And I felt really horrible for a couple days. And then it's still kind of like I feel a lot better now, like, I feel fine. Sometimes my voice gets raspy, and people are like, "Oh my god, are you still sick?" I'm like, "It's
yeah,
fine."
I had a couple days I felt pretty bad, um, but I'm assuming this was the Omicron because it's like super contagious, but not as bad,
Yeah, the
from what
symptoms are
I've
a little
heard.
different.
But, like, I mean, it didn't stop me from playing the game every night, and, I drank most of the nights too, so it definitely wasn't like having the flu, but it definitely wasn't fun, and it definitely burning in the lungs, but all that's gone now, and I feel
Yeah.
better, I'm glad to be through it, but, shoulda got that booster shot before Christmas.
I'm actually getting my booster shot tomorrow, so I plan on sleeping most of Saturday and Sunday.
There you
Right
go.
after KU and the Chiefs play at the exact same time tomorrow.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
no. Wait, the Chiefs
Yeah.
play tomorrow? Saturday?
Yeah, they got moved.
Oh, shoot.
Oh,
Thank you for letting me know. I hope
right?
that doesn't, like, align with the MC hardcore run because I wanted to watch that too, but, we're
3
getting
p.m.
we're getting off subject though, but yeah.
3:30 tomorrow.
So, um, so yeah, do we wanna is there anything else you wanted to go over on, on what we've been doing this week, Mel, or you good?
I'm good. I
Okay.
made a new priest. Bob made a new druid.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. We might go a little different professions this time. I might actually do engineering because a target dummy could have saved us there too. Or training dummy. I forget what they're called, target or training dummy. But
Target.
that could have saved us. So probably going to do a little bit of engineering this time around. But yeah, so for raid progress, I mean, Yip did bear again this week, and he's not here, so I don't want to talk too much smack, but his
Oh, I
uh
do.
his threat was not as good as it was that first week. I don't know if he wasn't
It's
trying
because
as
we had a
hard.
pally this time.
Oh, well, I mean, but like the threat on bosses though, like I found
Uh,
myself having to slow down as opposed to the week before where I didn't have to slow down. But it could just be I
Maybe
was
because you
getting
had more
luckier
pally
on
buffs.
crits or something. Maybe I don't know.
You also had more pally buffs, which we didn't have the week before. One thing I would like to say about our raid progress is that I got put into the Shadow Priest group, which you've never been in. And let me just tell you, once you've gone Shadow Priest, you never go back. Okay? So now I know what I'm missing, and now I'm just like frustrated when I'm not there. So I was in the Shadow Priest group and I was just like, why am I
And
never
why don't you
having to drink?
okay, why don't you explain the benefit to people that might not know?
I have no idea. They give me mana. That's all I know. I don't know what it is that gives me mana. I don't know why it gives me mana. All I know is that the Shadow Priest gives me mana, and so does the Shaman that's in that group too. And I had unlimited mana. And I got taken out of that group for like one fight, and I didn't realize I was taken out of the group. And I looked up and I was out of mana, and I was like, what is happening? And then I looked at my group and I was like, oh, I got removed. And then I got put back into that group, so I all was good. But
Wait,
it was eye-opening.
what you're talking about is a little spell called Vampiric Touch. It is the
Yeah,
spell that gives you just gobs of mana back. It's the reason arcane mages love them so much. They give if you
yes.
have a really good shadow priest, you like that allows your arcane mage to do so much more, and it's going to be really important coming up for a certain boss.
Yes, we do have a really good shadow priest. Kim is our shadow priest, and he's, like, big-brained. Um, but he's really good. But usually, I think we have 3 mages that are in the shadow priest group and the shaman group,
I don't think we do
but
anymore now that spell
right,
check moved to raffle dots.
correct. So now we only have 2 mages. So Mel got put in the Shadow Priest group, and it was glorious. I
Well,
never want to go back. Now that I know that that's a thing, I feel like I'm spoiled.
well, you've also been doing more raid healing now that Yip doesn't really need the inspiration buff, right?
Yeah, yeah, I do raid healing when it's needed now, and that's fine. I mean, there's only a few bosses that I had to like spam heal Yip on, and I still kind of do have to spam heal Yip on those fights, but
Oh, so you're
like
still
Morgrim,
Yip's healer.
yeah, 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 I'm still Yip's healer.
Oh, I thought it got moved to somebody else.
No. I mean, it's so easy right now, like, I think we might move it in the next phase, but for now, like, I can heal you, band rate heal, easy pie.
You're a
So,
priest, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
I mean,
holy.
all you have to do to raid heal is hit circle of healing every,
Yeah, I
so
know, it's
often.
glorious. Like, doop, 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 doop. Yeah,
And
I
then
love
just
it.
go back to healing the tank. Yeah,
Uh-huh,
it's wonderful.
yeah. It's it's crazy, crazy easy. But, yeah, so that and then I don't know if you wanna bring it up, Bob, or if you'd like me to bring it up about Morgram
It's
and
a
Mm,
Kim.
horrible it's
go
a
ahead
horrible
and
boss. Yes, I
say
agree.
it because
Okay,
I'm
so here's the thing.
forgetting.
So we do
Oh,
Morgrim,
yes, yes. Yip's not
and
here to roast.
let me Yep.
That's why
Yep.
Yip didn't come on the show. I
Yep.
know
Yep.
exactly why Yip didn't come
Yep.
on the show.
Let me tell you.
I will make sure to include the clip too under this part of the show
Okay,
notes. So
let me
scroll
tell the
down for
story.
that.
Okay. So we're doing Morgrim, and Yip's on his druid, and Yip's tanking Morgrim, and that's fine. Everything's going great. Like people get water engraved, it's fine, whatever. Like we're really like just pushing through. And
We're
then all of a
destroying it.
sudden,
Hold on. We're at the part now where we're moving the boss to the corner because the watery graves are like moving towards us.
yeah, yeah.
I still don't know
And
what those
so
do because I've never been hit by one, and I don't think anybody has. But yeah, those are moving towards
Damage.
us, and
They do damage.
Yip's moving the boss over to the corner
yep. So Yip's moving the boss over to the corner and then Yip dies. Like
instantly.
just instantly. Like, I'm his healer, and I'm, like, moving, and I'm healing him, and he's at full life, and then he's dead.
And now,
And we're like,
Naismith,
"Whoa."
can you guess how he died instantly?
If he's a new druid, I'm gonna guess he did something that switched him out of bear form.
So he did.
Yahtzee!
He said his, like, cat form was next to where he was, like, backing up, so we have to assume it's probably, like, Z or X or something, right? Um, but he switched to cat form and just instantly died.
Yeah,
Yep.
And
he
so
And it
now we
was
look at the
hilarious.
clip.
So he dies, and then like I believe it was Jeff in the raid, one of our mages goes, did you turn to cat form? And then Yip was like, did I? Or no, Harshkar brought it up and he was like, Yip, did you change the cat form? And Yip's like, did I? And then we look at it, and yep, he did. And then Nettie, in the chat, clipped it, and it definitely shows him switching to a kitty and
But
instantly
you have to
dying.
look at his raid frame, right? Like Bob's target of target on his Twitch clip, his target of target, you see like the bear in the raid frame, and then you see the cat, and then you see death. And it's glorious and beautiful.
yeah,
But
I can see a cat getting clapped pretty quickly on that fight.
oh my gosh. And we still downed Morgrim. Like it didn't wipe us. So I guess Yip's covered there. But we had a
And
couple
then
things.
Yip goes, I am so glad you couldn't see me screwing up all the times I screwed up as warrior.
Yeah, he did. He goes, "I'm so glad it wasn't as obvious when I screwed up on a warrior because I screwed up all the time." Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great.
but other than that, I think we cleared pretty easily everything.
Yeah, we have
There was one there was one, pull there was one trash pull that we accidentally pulled, like, 2 or 3 packs or something, and a lot of people died, but guess who didn't die?
Mel.
Yep.
Mel. Mel
I know all
and Dan,
the
because I
warlocks
healed
died.
Yip. Uh, but yeah, I think overall the raid went pretty seamlessly, like, it was pretty uneventful. I don't know, Bob, do you remember anything differently?
No, I mean we've been clear in the last couple weeks in one night. We got done this last time with just a couple minutes to spare for our 3 hour raid block, and yeah, but we did do some like interesting stuff. Not this week, but last week. But it was after we recorded the podcast. Um, Yip and one of our warriors needed a certain couple items from AQ. So they needed the
Mm,
scarab, and then Yip needed something. I don't know. We had to kill a couple bosses in AQ40 for the two items that they needed. Both items dropped, which was awesome. The one for Yip and the one
right.
for the warrior. But the funny part is we go to AQ40 and we haven't run it at all in TBC, and we're going in there, and our raid lead Harshkar's like, I don't really know what to expect. I don't know if this is gonna be hard or easy, and let's just give it a shot. So we give it a shot, and long story short, easy as hell. I would like Lock Dude, my warlock, Destro Warlock was tanking the big, like, the 4 big Anubises, like, I was taking them easy. Like, it was hilarious. We went in with, like, I don't know, 18 people and just annihilated the place. I mean, it was like running a lower level five-man dungeon. It was absurd. Like, have you went into, any of the old raids, Nax or AQ since being TBC geared?
We did BWL and Nax over a couple weeks. BWL was simple. Nax, you still need to follow uh, some basic mechanics. Otherwise, you're going to wipe. And we were pretty much hard locked because we only had one priest, so we couldn't do. Oh, what was the guy that requires the MCs? Resuvius, I think. Yeah, we couldn't kill him with only one priest because we couldn't MC enough of the guys.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, well, I'm
Uh,
sure if we had went to twin emps, like I remember trying to run twin emps when we were in Wrath, and it was like 10 people or something like that in Wrath, and we just blew through everything, and then like we actually wiped on twin emps because you have to keep them separate.
yeah,
Like, or you're just not gonna kill them.
yeah. Um, we actually there's a GDKP on on the server I'm on right now that does MC because I think one of the guys wants bindings, and they actually the bindings dropped when one of our healers was in there, and they only 8 people did it, and they completed the 2 bindings bosses, and he made like 500 gold for about 30 minutes of work. So I mean, not too bad.
Nice, nice. Yeah, but I just thought it was hilarious that I was able to tank these big trash things that were just nuts before, and as a Destro Warlock, it was just
Yeah,
cracked me up.
yeah. BWL was pretty easy from what I remember. It was not difficult in the slightest. In fact, I'm pretty sure they finished Nefarian. I think they only had like 3 people left, and they lasted for a couple minutes just killing Nefarian.
Nice, nice. Well, all right. Well, I think uh, that definitely ends out the raid progress time. Make sure to make fun of Yip about his
Oh, yeah.
switching to cat.
Please.
I wish he was here. Now I understand why he got quote unquote sick.
Yeah. Mm,
Mm-hmm. Yep,
mhm.
yep. But he'll be back next week. We'll definitely make sure to get his retort. I'll make sure to have that in the notes. But
Nah, we don't need it. We don't need it.
let's move on to the news. So first up in the news, so Blizzard is now finally talking to us about ideas for server population changes. Now I'm gonna have a big pissy thing to say shortly, but I want to go through just a couple of their ideas. Now they do say that that they have data over years now that show that in classic and in vanilla and original TBC that when transfers are opened, people generally move to to the side that they have population dominance on. So, you know, like if they're Horde, they're gonna move to a server that's, you know, generally 60%, you know, Horde or more. And that seems to be that makes complete sense. I mean, it's what most people would do because, you know, they're not gonna take the chance of going to a lower pop server. So they basically said, "Hey, we're listening to ideas now." Now, I'm gonna say this, their ideas are too late, and that's just all there is to it. We're gonna go over their ideas, but I wanna tell you, the idea that might have worked is gone now. You had a ton of people on dead servers. That is the only time free transferred to lower pop servers would have worked. People would have been willing to go to a server where they were not in control just to not be on a dead server. That was your fucking window. That can't work now because you already fucked it. So this whole thing upsets me to the core, and like, yeah, we'll get to it, but your opportunity was with the people on dead servers. Those people are no longer on dead servers, they're on mega servers. Opportunity lost. So, that being
Well,
said, alright, sorry,
I
you
was
wanna
just
say
say, like,
something?
they, after reading their statement that they put out recently, it sounds a lot like guys, we haven't tried anything and we're really just all out of ideas. And I was
Ugh.
really disappointed but not surprised by what they said because let's be honest, a good source of revenue for them has been people server transferring.
Right.
Um, it's as simple as that. Like, um, the I was on. I've talked about it several times on all the podcasts I've been on. I was on a server called Stalag, which at the best of times in Classic was like 70-30 since BWL. By the time AQ rolled around, there was only one Alliance Guild, and that one took bribes to like camp certain horde guilds that people didn't like. My guild was one of them. It's not important. It was weird, pointless drama from the AQ event. That was so weird. But by the time TBC came around, we had a huge uptick in alliance population, and by that I mean we went from 1% to 5%. And at that point, they all left because why would you stay on a server where you have to corpse walk 4 times to get to a raid?
I
Like,
mean, that's what we do now.
I
Like, to
know, and
get to SSC, we on white main, it's 2 to 4 times.
I'm always
Yeah.
impressed that you guys have stayed on that server.
Well, I mean, we
Well,
we would have to pay, like, for all of our characters to move for an entire guild to get to another server.
so
Yeah.
here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys, is that I think that the way that Blizzard is looking at it is they're looking at not beneficial data, right? So they're saying, you know, that people will transfer to servers and maybe we shouldn't migrate servers because people don't want to migrate servers, or maybe we shouldn't let transfers open because now a balanced server will become imbalanced. There's a very clear result in this, and there's a very clear path as to how you could do this. You can cap servers, right? Like no faction can go above 60% of the other faction, right? And if it does, then you don't allow people to transfer to that server from that faction. And that's fine, right? What that limits is them it they will say, well, friends can't play with friends then because they can't log in and they can't join the same server, right? Sometimes you have to spend money to make money. That's all I'm saying is that you have lost more people to this faction imbalance problem than you have gained from friends coming to play with friends. Can we just lay that out there? Like,
Well,
you have
and
Honest,
lost
here,
way more
hon-
people to this.
Honestly, I think they've made quite a bit of money from the server imbalance. I really think they've made like just a ton from
Yeah, prior to
people.
the free transfers, yeah.
Yeah, from people transferring because you get it twice. Once when one faction goes away, and again when the majority of the dominant faction transfers to another new server because they didn't want to be there on a server where there is no one to fight.
Yep. All right, well, let's go through some of these ideas, and I'm going to skip down, guys, to the one for the free transfers to minority from majority only. Now, I'm going to read what he said. This logically makes a lot of sense. However, there are some details to consider. Looking inward as a player, would you voluntarily move to the outnumbered faction on a realm? If yes, if the answer is yes, can you honestly say that you feel that a significant number of other players would make a similar choice? Again, using the data we've gathered over the past few years, it's fairly conclusive that players do not take advantage of free faction faction free realm transfers. I don't know what that's. It's trying to say faction transfers or paid, not faction realm transfers or paid transfers to move to the underdog faction. It's just not something that happens to a degree to move the needle in a positive direction, and offering that move as the only option that players have for free transfers is likely not going to be positively received by the players who are unhappy with their current realm. Now, again, what I want to say is fuck you. You had a perfect opportunity with the dying servers. Now the servers aren't dying. They're already dead and people are gone. Of course, this isn't going to work now, but it could have worked before, and you were too lazy to try. You could have done it first, and then if it
I
didn't
don't think
work,
it's too
change.
lazy. I don't think it's too lazy. I
It's
think it's
lazy.
financially motivated. No, I think it's
Free
financially
transfers?
motivated.
Free? They didn't get anything from the free transfers where they let all the people on the dead servers move.
Correct, but it's financially motivating to them to let them transfer because that keeps them playing, right?
But
What's
they would
not
still have
financially
a
motivating to
option to
them.
transfer to someone who just doesn't like they could have went to I mean, it could have specifically helped white maid, like it they would have chosen us and been like, "Oh, well, white maid 60/40, I'll go there." A lot of people go there. All of a sudden, we're at 50/50 because of those dying server people coming to us.
Correct. And I think that was a problem, right? They open free transfers and they don't designate like if you're alliance, you can go here. If you're horde, you can go here. If like they don't
Lazy.
designate that. They just say, "Go wherever you want because we wanna make you happy," which in the end makes everybody angry. And I think that yes, they've made a lot of money off of these character transfer fees that they've done before, but the free transfers, they're just missing the boat. I think they're just trying to make people happy and letting them transfer, and yeah, they probably don't wanna transfer to a less populated alliance area, but you know what? If you give them the choice of being on a PvP server that has 100%, 99% alliance versus being on a PvP server that has 40% alliance, they're gonna go to that one. But if you
Of
give
course
them
they
the
are.
option of going from a PvP server that has 60% alliance, they're gonna go to that one. So don't
And
give them that freaking option.
just
Like, that's not an option. If you're alliance, you can go to this server. If you're horde, you can go to this server. Like, that's
and
it.
and
There are
just to
there
like Naismith, you do know what's happened like since they opened up the free transfers, like
yeah,
like basically benedictions went to 93.8% alliance.
yeah.
Faralina is 99.2% horde. White Mane went from like a 37% alliance pop to now it's down to 23%. Like, it's basically the
Oh yeah,
only server that's surviving is Firemaw, and it's like it's getting unbalanced now too. Like, it was at 50-50 just a few weeks ago. Now it's at 54.5 to 45.5. So, but
yeah.
did you have thoughts? Sorry.
Well, I was just damn it, I lost my train of thought. But I do think like there are so many just tangible benefits from being on a server where your side is dominant. It makes it like you can level alts easier. You can gather things easier. If it's a smaller server, you don't have a whole lot of bot competition. Like there are so many benefits to being on the on the top side on the winning side, especially not having to like as we've said earlier slog through to get to SSC just to
Well,
raid.
and on PvP servers that are like pretty well balanced, you don't see a lot of bots in the open world either because the other side faction kills them. But
Yeah.
on ones that are dominated, they just make a bot on the dominant side, and so therefore bots are able to creep into the open world even on PvP servers at that point. But yeah, of course nobody's going to choose to do it. That's why I'm so mad that they lost this opportunity with the dead servers to actually correct a problem. And now they're looking at it and being like, well, that option just doesn't make sense. Of course it doesn't now. Like, at least say you fucked up. Like, that's the part where
I
I'm
mean,
upset.
they did pretty much say, like, that they should have addressed this sooner.
No, they said
They
they should
did
have
say that.
opened up free transfers sooner. No, you should have done free transfers in a smart way, a responsible way, but instead, you did the irresponsible, easy option.
Yeah. I mean, eh, I don't know. I don't know that I agree that there are things that they could have done. I think that there's still not an easy solution, and there never will be.
Well,
And
there's
I think
definitely I
they
mean,
need to make
there's just not a solution now, but we're gonna
okay,
go through
but
a
I
couple
also
more
think
of their ideas.
yeah, but let me just say, like, if this was a new game, there would be a lot more solutions than there is in a classic game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Because
they
in a
dropped the
classic
ball way
game
back in, like, Classic too. Like, they dropped
well,
the
I
ball to
don't even
start
think they
with.
dropped the ball in the classic well, yeah, in classic, but I don't think they dropped the ball this wasn't an issue in vanilla. Like, there was a lot of alliance players, there was a lot of horde players, and
Well, on
as the game
imbalanced
went on
servers in vanilla, the largest servers were like a little over 3,000 people. So the server
right,
imbalance with 3,000 people as opposed to White Main right now that has 17,000 people, 4K on Alliance, 13K on Horde. That's a
yeah,
big difference. And like
yeah,
depending on the layer you on, you could really be fucked. Like
yeah.
so it's a big difference in
Is
just
there still
amount of
layers
people.
on White Mane?
Oh, yeah, there's layers on any server that's large.
Yeah, we haven't had layers on Earth Fury in a while. Um, yeah, it's like there are foundational problems that they attempted to right when they created TBC. They like the class imbalance, giving each other paladins and shaman, but they still the factions. Horde has some advantages in PVE that are just they're really distinct and they're pretty large compared to what Alliance has. That doesn't help with faction imbalance either. When one
Yeah, but I
side,
mean, if you think about it, how many people it's it's not a huge population of people that PvP at a high level in Arena. So it's
well,
I
no,
still don't know how like and we'll see how big of a point that is when we go to Wrath where human is definitely probably the BIS character for most of the BIS classes in
it
PvP.
it's not just PvP, it's PvE too.
True, true, yeah. Orc.
Like the orc racial is really, really good. Like just having an extra trinket that you can pop on top of your other one, really good. Like the healing, it gives you a healing debuff, but who cares about that? Because there's so many like advantages to it. Um, like the factions are not equal in any way, and then on
No.
top of that, like you give it like it's literally a huge advantage to have the dominant faction. I don't know
But,
if there's a
like, you
really
say
good
that,
way.
though. But you say that, but across all realms, PvE and PvP, it's 46 to 53, you
Yeah,
know?
it is.
But then
Yeah.
if you take out the PvE servers, then all of a sudden it's 61 Horde, 38 Alliance. Then you, take out the, oh, wait, hold on. I just messed it up. Then you just do PvE, and you get Alliance is 64% there. So,
I
like,
just don't
I
understand
still don't know.
why they can't allow so if you're on white main, if you're a horde, you can transfer off. If you're an alliance, you can't free transfer off. And I get that they should limit the mega servers, right? Like who was it in our chat?
Well,
Stompin' Wind said you should limit the mega servers, right? Like, shouldn't let anybody come to the mega server. But at the same time, we need Alliance to come to the mega server, but we shouldn't have allowed so many Horde on the mega server.
yeah, well, and sorry to finish what I was gonna say. With the 61, 38 PvP realms across imbalance, just imagine if all the PvP servers were that balance. I would be okay with that, and I think many people would be okay with that. It's still a pretty big imbalance, but it's workable. Like, but what's happening is that everybody's just on the different servers. I keep harping back to, like, they missed their opportunity to fix a lot of this problem, and they failed, but, let's go through some of their other ideas real quick. So, one of them was make the lower pop faction on the server incentivized to want to play on that server, so I guess they get something from it, whether it be kinda like the, kinda like um, the
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 PvP
Happy Meals?
reward.
the PvP Happy Meals, like, where you get a little extra something, maybe extra experience while leveling, maybe extra rep while doing dungeons, um, things of that nature.
I
So,
think to do that, they would have to offer a reward that's large enough that it's
Yeah.
gonna make the other side upset that they don't get it. Like,
Right. That's the thing is that you could offer me a Happy Meal for leveling Alliance on this side, but transferring to Alliance when I'm already 70 or 60 is not enticing at all. Which link are you looking at, Bob? So I can follow?
it's the I in number 1 I.
Okay, thanks.
Alright, so yeah, I mean, maybe one of the other options that they talked about was cap factions at 40, 60, or 35, 65. Um, and what they're saying is, um, actually like like making it so you can't log in if you're on if you're on like if there's not enough. If you're on a server that's dominated by Horde and there's not enough Alliance logged in, you wait in a queue until a Horde leaves, and then you get in. And that's another idea that they had. Sounds like a horrible idea unless you also
that
it could work if you also offer that server permanent free transfers until faction is fixed.
that sounds like a great way to, like, have, uh always have 6 people missing from raid night. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
Uh,
That sounds awful.
like there are, I
I
am
could see, like here's the thing. I could see if you said you cap layers at a certain percentage of Horde versus Alliance, right? And maybe you're a Horde on a layer with no Alliance on a PvP server, but then that brings in other issues of like now you have free reign to do whatever you want if you log in at the right time or if you get on a certain layer. Like, I don't know.
anytime there
But
are
a queue sounds like awful. That's
anytime there are
not
multiple layers, I feel like that's ripe for abuse by people that are farming stuff as well.
yeah.
Um, there's that. I am I can't believe I'm saying this. I am slightly sympathetic to Blizzard because this is a problem that doesn't have an easy solution
It
other
doesn't.
than it really doesn't. Like, I do think Bob's solution would have helped. I don't know if it would have fixed it though.
Oh, I don't
Like,
think it yeah, I don't think it would have fixed it. I think it would have helped tremendously, though, and it would have been a good thing to test, but, yeah, I don't think it would have fixed it.
like we can't, like it or not, we can't force people to play the game the way they don't want to. And a lot of people, if we believe their data, and I think it's like the way people transfer shows, they don't really want to not be the dominant faction. Like,
Right. But
Now
they also don't want to be the only faction on a lot of these PvP servers, right? So
yeah,
there's a lot of PvP servers that are just Horde
I honestly think
and they hate it.
the only viable thing they have, and I don't like this because I don't really like the game as it stands, but you have to connect the servers like they do in retail. Like, that
Mm.
well,
way
we're gonna
there's
get to that. We're go that's the last one on the list. We'll talk about that one in a second, though. Real quick on this one, though, before we move up, this would work if you always allowed free moves to a server that you weren't dominated on. People would get fed up with 6 people not coming to raid, and they would just go ahead and move. You could say they would quit, but the people playing right now, most of them ain't gonna fucking quit. Like,
I
just
think you
like
have
we're
to
not gonna
implement
quit.
guild
Like,
transfers. I think you have to implement guild
well, no,
transfers.
free transfers would allow the entire guild to go too.
Correct.
But,
But
like,
that's like
only
a lot of
those 2 options
coordination.
would
Here's the
be
thing,
a
that's a lot of
strong arm.
coordination, and that's a lot of, like, talking to people and making sure that everybody's okay with it, blah, 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 right? Like, if there was a button that you could push to say, "Guild transfer to X, Y, and Z," and
And
then
then when
guild
people
said
log
and then
in, they
every
have to
guild member
agree to
said,
it.
"Yes," or "No, I'm good." Like, I think that honestly would help a lot because a lot of the holdbacks is people having a whole guild of people
Or
that
not
don't
even
want to
really knowing
transfer, or,
how
like
to move. Also, another thing that's on that is the like, when you transfer, I forget what the cooldown is, but I think it's months to where
yeah, you can't
you
transfer
can't
again.
transfer again for months.
I
So
thought it
that's
was 60 days
scarce.
or something like that.
It might be, but that's still 2 months, and that could scare the crap out of somebody, moving too, but I really think that this is a strong arm option that could work along you'd have to have those 2 things in play, the queue and the option to always get out of that queue to a place where you're never gonna queue. Like, it's and so, like, that could work. I think it's a really strong arm option that would rub a lot of people the wrong way. So I do agree that it probably wouldn't be great, but it would probably
But is it
work.
gonna rub them the wrong way enough for them to quit playing?
I don't
Which
think
is
so.
really all Blizzard cares about, right?
Let's
I
be honest. The 3 interns they have working on it, they're the ones that care if people keep playing.
alright, so
Their finance department cares if they keep playing.
and then the next option is just like we talked about it before, like, going ahead and, like, like always allowing you to move from a majority server to a minority server, but I don't think that's going to get a lot of people going anytime soon. So, only if that was with the queue would that have any would that work at all. So, the next one was what Naismith alluded to, and he said, "Open up cross-realm play or connected realms." Um,
I don't really like this option much at all, but if you want to, like, it's a way to solve it's the easiest way to solve the problem of there's just not being members of the other faction near you. It does destroy, I think they're right when it says it destroys the server identity, but honestly, I'm not that attached to a server. I'm more attached to having fun.
At this point, the servers are so big that it's not the same, like, server mentality that you had before, right? In vanilla, like, you knew that person that you saw in Battlegrounds all the time. You knew those people you saw in Ironforge and Stormwind. Can I say that I know anyone on my server that's, like, iconic for the server? No. And maybe Bob does, maybe other people do, that's fine. But what I'm saying is that the servers are a million times larger than they used to be. So if we're talking about identity, that's not a thing anymore.
It's not.
And
I
if
I can tell you right now, there was a guy on my TBC server when it was current, named Bottle Guy, who every time he logged in, put in every single trade chat, looking for group, everything, general, hail Satan, literally every time. I still remember that guy to this day. There is
right,
no one like that in that I could name off the top of my head outside of my guild anymore.
right. And I think our guilds are our communities now, right? Like, and I am only speaking from my personal experience because there could be a lot of people who feel very differently, right? But in my
oh,
mind,
you're gonna get to hear from one in just a second. I'm just letting you finish.
okay, that's fine. But in my mind, the server doesn't mean what the server used to mean because we've increased it all already. We've already got cross faction or cross server battlegrounds that we've had forever, right? And that's fine, but what are we really holding on to here? What are we really holding on to with the server? And I get that we're like scared of this slippery slope that's going to turn into retail. And I get that, but I think we're there. Like we basically have cross servers with 17,000 members instead of 3,000 members. Like that's basically just a bunch of servers lumped into one.
All right, well, I'm gonna go here. Not a fucking chance. Fuck you,
Why?
Six Fury, and your dumbass. No, no. Like, I don't know if anybody's watched the most recent Mad season video, but this is one of the things he specifically points out, and I agree. I agree with looking for raid and looking for freaking group too. Do not put that in my game. I don't care if I'm on a mega server, at least make it the mega server. I do not want cross-realm crap where like, yes, you might not run into the same people, but on these mega servers, lots of people are raid logging. The people that play, work up characters, you're going to keep running into those same people. It does happen. It happens to me constantly. No, the cross-realm crap is crap. It is
Okay, how about
retail
this? How about
crap.
just fine. How about just have one server and a bunch of different layers? How about that?
That's what we have. Oh, you mean one server across the board? No.
Yeah, just in general.
That's the same
Just
thing.
one.
Well, here, I'll be perfectly honest. Citing Mad Season does nothing for me. I watched several of his videos. They are filled with I don't want to shit talk the guy because I think he's stopped playing WoW, but I was incredibly unimpressed after I looked into some of the claims in some of his videos. I don't like the idea of cross realms at all. I don't
I
like,
don't either.
but if you want to actually have the other faction, that's the only way we're going to actually have to have it. We have what, 1 out of 30 servers that is even close to balanced at the moment.
Yeah, but it's the
It's
same
not a,
lazy attitude that led us to retail and people never even really talking. Like
well.
I mean, this actually isn't
I'm not
as
talking about looking
bad.
for group
Hold
and
on,
looking
hold
for
on.
raid. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
Yeah,
how do
I
you
know
get
exactly
the
what you're talking about.
community together? Like, do you have a community identity? Do you have a server identity right now?
Yeah.
Like, yes, you're on Whitemane, but is there anything about Whitemane that makes it Whitemane for you? Tell me that.
I mean, all the people that I know, the different horde that I fight while working up different characters, the different I mean, literally while we have were before hardcore, we were working up and we ran into multiple rogues that we had multiple fights with across m- a, like across multiple zones throughout like
Mhm.
61 to 65. It was a rivalry that was fun and cheeky. Like that type of stuff doesn't happen if you do the cross realm play, and it's
And I think I
literally
would
just
argue
these
that that type
people
of stuff
not
doesn't
looking for
happen.
a new way to fix it. They're just
Okay,
looking at the bullshit
Well,
retail way
I
that they
agree,
fixed it.
but I would argue that that type of stuff doesn't happen because there's mega servers at the same time, right? Like, I
And
understand that
whose
you
fault
say
that
that
there's mega
we
servers?
okay, and that's what I'm saying is that if you're gonna have mega servers, why not just have cross realm? Like,
I don't
I
want to
get
be
it.
forced into that because they decided to let it happen. No,
Okay,
I'm
well,
gonna
but
be
there's
pissed
nothing we
about
here
can
it.
do about the mega servers now. There's nothing we can do.
Oh,
They're not gonna
I can
say,
definitely pitch a bitch and hope that they get different
well,
people.
here's the thing: we don't play the game the way we used to at all.
right.
Like, we don't consume it the way we used to. Raid logging wasn't a thing. It wasn't. Like, it was not something that happened as much as it does
Well,
now.
yeah, well,
Oh,
We
yeah.
but
we don't
also,
like we
but
are
at the same
the
time,
emphasis
though,
the emphasis we have on this game now is parsing and speed running, which means we can do it as fast and efficiently as possible. That wasn't what we did when this game was
there
current.
was raid logging, dude. Like
Oh,
we
there
did
was.
it. We did it. Like it's
Yeah,
just
you
that
did
it
it
took
5 nights a week.
5 days a week, and all we did was raid. But yeah, like
Yeah,
we did just raid log. We just played, you know,
we played
30 to 40
significantly
hours
more.
a week raiding, you know.
Yeah, we played significantly more, which led to us knowing the people around us so much more. I
Right.
can't
But
get
we
to
were in
know,
raid though. I mean, we just got to know the people that were in our
but
raid, like the same
but
as
you still had to farm the gold and mats for consumables,
Mhm.
which meant more time in game, which meant learning the people that could craft on your server in case some like the one guy that was the elixir master in your guild wasn't
somewhat
online.
somewhat like most of the time
And
we
those
hold on though. I mean, if we're being serious, we'll go back to vanilla. None of us farmed shit because we were going to run MC regardless every week. So we brought in 5 farmers that loved to farm but couldn't get into a raid to save their life. So we'd bring them on the MC run. They would give us all kinds of shit, whether it be mats, money, whatever else, and they would fund us and they would get gear that we had no use for whatsoever, and
Okay, but
that's what funded
that's
us.
not entirely true. What also funded us is that we needed 40 people and we had 45 that were always logged in, and the 5 people that weren't in the raid would farm. That's their job
They
to
would
earn
also farm
DKP.
to earn
You
DKP
could
too.
earn DKP by farming if you weren't in the raid. And that's the life of what it was like in vanilla in a, you know,
But also
fairly
to
hardcore guild,
yeah,
right? And so
to add on to that, like for instance, BWL, only 25% of the population was even rating that when it was current in vanilla. The rest of the population were people that lots of them never even got to 60. So, like, it's different, but it's the same. It's just
Well, no,
the
that's
difference is it takes us a lot less time to do the same thing we did prior.
it does, and that means we have so much less time with the community. Like, we just don't. Like, I leveled with only people in my guild. I didn't level with anyone else. We had, like, five-man groups where we would spam run dungeons. We quested occasionally, but that was only when, like, our 5th or 4th person wasn't online. Like, we have become insular, and we are like, I'm closer with my guild now than, like, I ever was back in the day, but a lot of that's because
Same.
Same.
the technology is better. Discord is way such a
Mhm.
better platform than
Then
TeamSpeak or Vent.
Ventrilo.
Yeah, but, like, that comes with drawbacks. Like, I don't have, like, the Vent IDs for all, like, the best guilds on the server because 'cause we're not always talking to each other about, like,
Right,
strategies and stuff like that. There weren't 70 different YouTube videos showing you the strats on how to beat
right.
something. You didn't have to talk to the guilds that were further along. Like, you can just go watch the Fat Boss video on what it is that you're supposed to be doing, or the Crix
Yeah,
video. Like, we have designed a system to be efficient and to encourage us to be more insular. And now we're wondering why we don't have the community we used to.
yeah,
Well, and something else to add too. Honestly, Mel and I leveled like, white man extremely overpopulated. Leveling is still pretty fine. Unless you're in Hellfire Peninsula, like, there's a lot of bottom feeders that, come over, either to just farm honor while they're in queue. At that point, it makes sense. They're just trying to get a kill or two. But then, you've got the people that are just trying to kill the really easy targets. But later on in the later zones, like, we run into Horde all the time. They're doing their thing, we're doing our thing. Sometimes we fight, sometimes we don't, depending on who wants to tag on a mob and stuff like that. But, like, if you're outnumbered, you just don't tag the mob, and it's fine. It's just really the biggest problem is, I've brought this up before, is, like, SSC. Like, TK's fine. Like, there's tons of Horde, but we still are able to get, sometimes we're not able to get to do, stone summons, and that's okay. Like, people just go ahead and make their way there. But in SSC, you literally just can't get in there without wasting 20 minutes, and
yeah,
that's
but we have
where, like,
people parked behind to summon.
you could make SSC, like, once you get in the tunnel, like, to where it's just like Shat, where you just can't attack anybody, and
Yeah.
that would solve the problem, a lot of the problems that you deal with on these inbound servers, just a small change like that.
I mean, I think here's my last take on this, is that I think what we're searching for is no longer there no matter what. I think what people are searching for with that connection and that, loyalty to a certain server and population is no longer there. For reasons because of server population is so much bigger. For reasons such as people raid log a lot more, and me included, like, we have a guild, uh, I don't know, an auction guild bank person that literally provides us with all of our necessary consumes, and so I don't even have to farm those because he's amazing. And so there's
Wait,
that.
wait, what?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't been listening to the show for a bit, huh? Yeah, Kim
Oh my
provides
god.
like, Kim basically set it up to where we're just making so much money that all flasks, everything is guild provided. Flask, food,
Mana
elixirs,
pots,
mana pots,
elixirs, mana
um,
pots.
Sorry,
Yeah.
nets, uh,
Every week. I don't have to
everything.
do anything.
I'm sorry.
Destro
Actually
pots, haste pots.
I'm actually creating my character on Whitemane now.
Come on over, brother.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. I mean, he is really like he knows how to corner the market. He made, like, this Discord server on, like, different
Yeah.
people that can craft
He
things, just
basically,
to,
like,
like
makes quests for us. He's like, "Okay, um, if you want to do this quest, you go take these mats from this." He's got different guild banks with different alts and stuff set up, with different alts from the guild, like us, set
Yeah,
up. He's like, "Okay, if you wanna take this quest, you go get these mats, you make this amount." On certain
and
ones,
you
he's
get
like
this
yeah,
much in
any
return.
any procs that you get to keep for this, or he's like, If you make all of these, you keep this amount for you." Like, it's just literally giving incentives and quests for people to do different jobs. Like, he's
And
unbelievable.
it
He's
doesn't cost people any
amazing.
money, right?
I,
Like,
I'm not
he
joking. I'm
provides all the map.
legitimately creating the character now. What class do you guys need?
I mean,
Shaman
we could use a boom kid. We don't have
or
a
a
boom kid.
boomkin.
Wonderful. Always wanted to play a chicken.
Well, if you haven't used your boost too, you could be there quick.
Oh,
Ah.
that's true.
But yeah, like, so we don't even get on, right? So what I'm saying is that how do we look at server identity? How do we say, this is what I loved about Classic and this is what I want to see? Because we're not seeing that now. Like, we're seeing it to an extent. But how do we prevent us getting to the point that this is a slippery slope down to the retail platform, right? Because I think that that's what everybody's fear is that we're going to just
That was my
trickle into
whole point at
this.
the start. They already fucked it. Like, they fucked it in Classic, and they screwed it here with an opportunity to make it a little better with the free transfers. It's and you're right. We do have mega servers that make the identity way less, but that doesn't mean that I can't still be pissed about it because they let it happen.
Okay, they did let it happen, and that's fine. We're over it. We're
They
gonna move on with our lives. But where do we go from here?
well,
They
And
did.
from
oh,
here,
Naismith, go.
I think my suggestion I was not done talking.
I'm sorry.
From
I
here,
interrupt.
I from here, I think my suggestion is, let's find a way to say, this is a good compromise that we could do that we feel like would still keep us in the classic community. And I
And
feel like
so
as the
your
classic
statement
community, we are one right now. But
so your statement is the best option is to do the cross realm?
it's not.
Okay,
It's
well
to
then what
let's
is your best option?
I don't know.
Okay, Naismith, to close out, what do you think is the best option? I think you're on the cross realm route, right?
No. I think that's what they're gonna do
Right.
because I think that's the easiest one. I honestly think if I had my if I had my way, I would have server merges. I wouldn't do anything else. I know that that means that sometimes you're gonna
Lose your name.
lose your name, but guess what? That's the only way to even come close to having servers be close to 50-50 again. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you there's no amount of free transfers that is going to fix a population that is 90-10 or 95-5. Like,
No.
there no amount of that
Yeah.
is going to do that. Now,
Yeah, those yeah.
I
I
think
mean, a population that's 95.5, the Horde aren't happy, and the Alliance on that server are just like, whatever. I'm here
Well,
to like
they're
make the
it's
small
not just
horde
Horde, like, there's
unhappy.
yeah, there's
at,
still benediction too, like, it's the
on
opposite.
Right.
on a 95-5 server, the Alliance are fucking unicorns. Like, seeing one is an event.
Right. And
I saw a
like we
leprechaun!
like Deathblow or not Deathblow, like Meldron said, he was like they're little factions of what did he call them?
He called them, uh, splinter cells.
Yeah, he's like they're little splinter cells. And that might have been Def Camp. He's like, there were little splinter cells all through the
No, it
area
was
that like
definitely Melderon.
yeah.
But,
Uh
okay, so, I do think the option that would actually work, and it would put the choice in players' hands, would be for the queue. Now, like, but that only works to a point to where, like, that only works for, like, the 75 to 25, like, once you go lower than 25, like, I don't know how that could even work at all. You would basically just be saying you can't play until you move, but at the same time, maybe that would just force it, but I think that could work. I do think for the 95.5 servers, Naismith, like, is probably on the right point. You have to merge, but then what do you do with, I mean, basically, you'd be merging Benediction and Faralina, and then you'd have a massive server. So, like, yeah, like, there's just they've fucked it, and that's where we're at now.
See, they've I'm only gonna give them partial blame for this. They fucked it. They gave us the tools, but we're the ones that fucked it horribly. Like, we're the ones that gladly took up the, say, "Hey, oh, yeah, we will gladly, transfer over here and create these toxic communities where the, other faction is just hunted willy-nilly." Like,
Yeah, phase 2.
yeah,
Phase 2 on
phase
my main.
phase 2 literally killed, like, there were people that couldn't
Killed servers.
level. Well, yeah, it killed mine. Like, Stalag was never
Yeah.
the
Killed
same after
yours,
phase 2.
killed Def Camp and Melderon's. Yeah, it
I mean, we persevered, right? But I'm not even kidding. We took a corpse walk 10 times every time we tried to get into DM.
yep.
Every time.
One thing that's really cool is the alliance that are still on white main are some tenacious motherfuckers.
Oh, yeah. They're not gonna let shit fly.
Well, it's
I
just like
I
we
mean,
just keep going.
you have no option but to be. Like, you guys have been shit on so often that it's, like, it's honestly kind of inspiring to see that you guys are still going at it.
Well, and there's never free transfers off of Whitemane.
Yeah, and yeah, that's like I mean, you if you haven't heard us complain about it before, when they opened these free transfers up, I mean, we had an okay-ish population of like 38%.
Yeah,
And luckily Faralina took the biggest brunt of the hit. And most of the horde moved over there, but I mean, they literally just screwed us, and like we're just sitting there with no option to do anything. Like, just can't. I mean, we just have to take it, or for me, it'd be what faction transfers, what $30 for just my well, 5 characters now. It would be freaking 100 $150 for just my characters, then $120 for Mel's. Like, that
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, it's, like I said earlier, it's a great money-making, strategy.
yeah,
Just
but they're losing money. Like we're not paying that. We're just gonna write it out, or we're gonna quit, right? Like, and how many people have just quit instead of transferring? Like, yeah, you get 10 people that pay for a transfer, and the other 10 people out of the guild quit because they're like,
I mean,
it's not worth it.
that does happen, but, like, I was looking at the server populations, and, like, the amount of people that are logging is still remarkably high in this game. Like,
Hmm.
Well, I mean,
it's a
it's just a raid, like TBC, if you don't PvP or work up alts, it's just a raid loggy
yeah, it's a raid
expansion
logging expansion. It's
until you get the dailies.
Which isn't horrible, guys. Like, I want to stress that I don't hate that.
Yeah, I don't
I
I don't
I've
either.
been on that forever. Like, I don't
and
think it's bad.
Blizzard makes the same amount of money if I log in every day or if I log in once a week. They make the same amount of money from me. So why are they so intent on making us log in every day? Like,
Because that increases the likelihood that you will keep logging in.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
log
I
in
don't know if
every
that's
day,
true.
or I log in every week because of my guild, not because of Blizzard. I log in because of my guild. And my guild is really my family, right? Like my guild is the people, they're the only reason I'm coming back. They're the only reason I'm continuing to play. They're the only reason that I corpse walk to SSC 5 times
Mel, I'm
before I get
sorry.
in.
But that your little speech there sounded an awful lot like a country song, just for a second.
And then my dog died.
All right. Well,
God.
we're gonna move on to the next piece, and yeah, we gave you the discussion we had, but man, ball
Guys, I
drop
epically
Blizzard.
failed at reading chat because it was way more than it usually is.
All
So I
right.
apologize.
Well, so all right. So the next order of business and the next piece of news is Blizzard has come back. We covered this prior because there's been a lot of misinformation from content creators about talking about Tier 6 and basically saying that Blizzard is not going to put the pre-nerf version in, and Blizzard's coming out and saying once again that this content really didn't have much changes besides bug fixes throughout. Like Sunwell did, so did Tier 5, so did Tier 4, but Tier 6 really just kind of came in, bug fixed, and was done. Like, and so they're just letting you know that like it's going to be the same throughout the entire tier. And yes, on private servers, it was definitely harder on a lot of them, from what a lot of the people have told us. But that's not the way it's going to be here.
Yeah, I can tell you as someone that struggled through tier 5 back in the day. Like my guild, we it was rough getting through tier 5. When we actually made it to tier 6, we were shocked at how easily we killed bosses and how we went from like the one boss in Black Temple that gave us trouble back then was actually Reliquary. After we got through that, we downed bosses like 2 or 3 a week until we killed Illidan after only about 4 nights on him. You compare that with the, like, trial that it was to get Kael'thas down, and I was shocked at that. Like,
Well, and it got me to thinking, like, it got me to thinking back to, like, when they were making the game. So, remember, they made, like, the end of Vanilla, they made Nax, and they're like, "Holy shit, nobody got through this." But then internally, they're talking, "Well, nobody got through it because, like, there wasn't incentive to do it because the new thing was coming out soon, TBC, so let's continue." And, they'd been working on these raids, like, after Nax was done, they were working on them and, like, kinda making them the same as Nax, or, almost as hard, if not in their minds what they thought might be harder. But then they get into TBC, and oh my gosh, people start dropping because, like, people just can't get through this shit. Like, attunements are confusing as hell. Like, everything's going rough. They struggle nerfing the content to keep the player base going. So tier 6 probably came out and they were like, okay, just give them a breath of fresh air, make it easy. That's my total speculation guess of what was going on behind the scenes back in the day, and that's what made it so easy.
I can't tell you what it is, like, there are some fights in tier 6 that are challenging. Like, Archimonde is not complex, but back in the day, it was challenging. Granted, my guild then found out about a pretty much like almost a borderline exploit where if you hide behind a tree, it like there's literally nothing that happens and it turns it into a tank and spank. But like there are some challenging fights in there. There's nothing that compares to the like the mass chaos of trying to handle Kael'thas like phase 3. Like because back then that was the height of like just all like borderline impossible. Like it was like no one was able to do it well. Like and it shows even after it was nerfed, people were still like I remember reading an article a couple months ago about how people were still on Kael'thas months at like a month or so after they get to it. And so they were eventually they just removed all attunements and people started going into Mount Hyjal and they're like, oh wait, this place is a joke. Like once you get past trash, the bosses are simple. It's yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about that too in discussion, but just to give everybody the news, yeah, it's going to be the same thing. There's not going to be a pre-new nerf or a post-nerf thing. It's just going to be the original without the bugs. And so, cool. All right, last piece of
Sweet.
news is the PTR is now back open again. We will have the link in the show notes that tells you exactly how to go and set your PTR account up because it's not super straightforward. You do have to go to the to the battle.net site and actually opt in, and then it'll show up as a drop down, just like your WoW Classic drop down, before they like split them out from retail. So just to let you know, check that in the show notes. With that being said, let's move into discussion. So this weekend discussion is going to be a lot of Naismith telling us how the PTR is and how these fights are going to be going forward in Tier 6. So where would you like to start, Naismith?
Well, why don't we just start where you have to start? Mount Hyjal. Now, Mount Hyjal is a different style of instance than we have had before. It's very odd, but the rewards from there, if you have seen the rings, are fairly substantial. Uh, you get rep with every trash kill and every boss kill, and once you hit Exalted, you get a ring. If you're like a warlock, it's amazing. It actually has a chance to proc spell damage, and it's really, really powerful. Um, the big caveat of Mount Hyjal is that you have to deal with 8 waves of trash that spawn on a timer before you fight the boss. You
Wait,
s-
is Mount Hyjal like an Onyxia type of thing? Like one boss? Or
no,
is it
it's 5 bosses.
okay.
So what happens is you go in when you enter Mount Hyjal, you enter this weird cave with 3 entrances. All of them have their own portal on them. Only
I've never
one.
done it before. I didn't raid in classic TBC. I only PvP'd. So this is interesting.
Don't worry. This is it's pretty like once I explain it, it's not complex. It can sound complex, but it's really not. Um, what it is I've never actually played Warcraft 3, but apparently you're playing out a scenario from Warcraft 3. Uh, I I would try to find that more interesting, but I don't really listen to the lore too much.
I don't
Um,
either.
what you do is you enter, and as you enter the instance, you're in this little cave, and you see 2 NPCs in the back. Those 2 NPCs have rep rewards, and it's the tier 6 vendor. So know that that's where you're going to get your tier 6 is inside Mount Hyjal. Um, as you enter, you there are 3 portals. There's one straight across and one to the right. Those are blocked off. You can't get into those until you've killed some bosses. To the left, you'll go there. As you enter, you're teleported into an alliance camp. Even if you're horde, you're in an alliance camp, and you help the alliance forces beat back the scourge invasion. So all the undead. So
As it should be.
yeah, that's certainly an opinion. Um, as you like the first you go talk to Lady Jaina. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Um,
Jada
you talk.
Proudmore.
Yes, she is there with. There are probably I don't know, maybe 15 to 20 NPCs that will help you against the trash. They do die though, so and they don't get rezzed right away. So I mean, try to keep the bad guys off of them. They can be useful. Like
Can
it's
you
useful
heal
to
them
have
and
them.
buff them and stuff?
You can heal them. I don't know. I think you can buff them. I'm not
I mean, that's a big thing in the hardcore thing is like buff this guy that we have to escort because they freaking. But sorry,
yeah.
sorry to derail you.
No, there's no need to. Yeah, so once you talk to Lady Jaina, you start the pretty much event. If she dies, it ends and you have to restart it wave 1. So, you get 8 waves of trash. There are different in each one there's a different like set amount, and there'll be tons of spreadsheets that tell you each and every one. Just your raid leader will have it. There are certain trash mobs that need extra attention. Abominations do a lot of damage. They usually need to be tanked away, but this is where your paladin tank is going to shine and be loved.
That's what we've
Um,
heard. Yeah,
Pretty much once you get them under control, AoE them down. That's it. Rinse, repeat. Um, and then you get to the first boss after 8 waves of this. The first boss is named Rage Winter Chill. The first time I fought Rage Winter Chill, I thought he was a joke. And this is back when like I didn't know how to play properly. Like this was we the night we killed Kael'thas, we were like, "Hey, let's go to Hyjal. We're all attuned now. Let's just see what it's like." And we killed him on our second attempt and we were just like, "Wait, what?"
ha. So that
The,
was the first night you killed Kael'thas because you hadn't gotten through it
no,
prior to them opening up Hyjal. That's so
no.
cool. That's so cool.
We got there and we were just like, "What is this? Is this like a reward for killing Kale?" Like
Like,
we
here
had
you go.
we had been on Kael'thas for, I'm not joking, 3 weeks, like with like 4 nights a week raiding. We had not been able to do it. God, we were such bad players back in the day.
Mm,
But
I
I
mean,
um,
mean,
I don't know. Like we were all just like it was just a slower process. There wasn't the information. I tell people in our guild all the time, like it's just weird for me every time we're like rushing through something because I used to be able to go AFK because we talk about a fight after we wiped for like a good 5 to 10 minutes, figuring out what we could do differently. Most of the time, it was like tanks, like trying to work things out with each other and different people with a set like a set job. Like so it was a lot of talking and a lot of explaining and a lot before every poll, whereas, like, now it's just like, "Did you watch the video?"
well, because
"Okay."
we go through it so much faster. And
Well, it's just we have all the information now, whereas back
yeah.
when Naismith was first doing this, they didn't, like, you
that's
know?
true. Um, like I compared this to the 6 like packs of trash that you have to kill around Lurker in SSC. Back in the day, that would take 30 minutes. That takes maybe 8 now. Like
Right.
because we know who, like, our paladins know who to AoE tank. We AoE it down. Like it's simple. Uh, you do everything now in
And raid
a
comps are correctly set up and
yeah. Like everything takes a tenth of the time that it used to. But so you get to Rage Winter Chill. Rage on the PTR. I have not wiped on him yet. I have fought him 3 times on 3 different characters. I created my first ever alliance character in TBC. He is a little gnome.
Whoop whoop.
He is a little warlock gnome that I, for some reason, thought was really funny at the time. Named Gnomely fans. Um,
that's actually a really good one. The only one that I
I like
saw
it.
on Hardcore, there's someone in my guild named Lonely Fans, and I thought that was hilarious too.
That was pretty epic.
that's nice. For some reason, I think I had been drinking that night, and for some reason, I thought that was just like the funniest thing that I had ever come up with. And I was like, "Oh, this is amazing."
I love
No,
it.
it was so dumb. But Gnomely fans killed him on his first attempt. It wasn't hard. All you have to do for Rage Winter Chill, all you have to do is stay out of the boiling ground. It's blood boil. It's death and decay, like the Death Knight ability.
Mm,
It doesn't have the same animation that it does later in Wrath, but it's something that it's very easy to spot. Just turn down your ground clutter and run away from it. Other than that, if your healers can reasonably heal up people that are ice blocked, then you should be good. This fight right here, Rage
we're
Winter Chill.
totally screwed. We've got healers that are just horrible.
Well, do you have enough?
Uh,
Battle reses? Do you have some
yeah,
druids?
yeah, yeah. We're
We have a
good there.
lot of druids now, yeah.
Then if you
I'm
have
just
a
kidding. Our healers are great.
battle res, you should like if you have more than 3, you should probably be fine. Um,
Yeah.
but you'll have like the NPCs will help you kill it if they're still alive. Jaina will actually help you kill it. I'm pretty sure she puts out a either like 100% spirit buff or 100% intellect buff. Like it's an aura that she just has. So your healers will probably like that. Um, other than
Yeah.
that, uh, it's really easy. You follow some pretty basic mechanics, and you're going to get tier 6 loot. So enjoy that. The next fight, the next pack, like 8 packs of trash that you have to do, are slightly harder than the ones before. They're really annoying, very annoying. Um,
Is there anything we need to do to prepare for these fights? Like,
uh,
do we need to have any sort of gear?
the Rage Winter Chill one, if you really want it, you can like use some frost protection pots that you pre-pot beforehand, but that's not that useful. The most useful thing would be to have the PvP trinket because that will get rid of the ice block that when he freezes you if you use that. It's not
Okay.
required though. Like I have never had it on any of the PTR characters I've had, and I've very very easily survived it. Um, the next fight is Anatheron. You spread out and you kill ads. It's easy. Um, again, you're gonna find the first after the second boss. You abandon the Alliance camp and you go to the Horde camp. Um,
Oh,
you now work with Thrall. The big thing that you're going to want to remember here is the second you talk to Lady Jaina after you've killed the second boss, is a bunch of epic gem nodes spawn. So you need a miner to mine them, and then you like your guild's just going to have a bunch of epic gems from that, and they spawn on the path to the next place. So it's a nice thing to have because epic gems are going to be pretty in demand in your guild.
okay.
Once you once you get to the horde camp, you start having this is where you get the difficult trash. You get again, it's 8 waves of trash. You now have to deal with gargoyles. Um, Gargoyles just fly down from the sky in one section of the camp. It's pretty far away. Like it's you have to mount up to ride there to get there. It's pretty far away. Bob, as a warlock, it's probably going to be your job to like take care of some of them, along with paladin tanks. Once you kill them, you have to reunite, kill more trash, go kill more gargoyles. Giant frost worms will actually attack as well, which you usually have a warlock tank them. Uh,
You have a
but then,
like, Destro Warlock's fine?
yeah, it's fine. Just have them searing pain it. If they're doing really like if they're taking too much damage, uh, I never had like the runs I was on, we never had problems with that. Uh, Maybe the healers are really good on the PTR. You usually get pretty high quality players
Yeah.
because first of all, most people don't know how to get onto the PTR, and second, it's a lot of people that are in like top guilds that are trying to parse really well and
Yeah.
like get first kills. Um,
Were you disappointed overall in the
Difficulty a little bit.
yeah.
It was very easy.
And you did it in, like, classic or in, like,
Yeah.
vanilla TBC?
Yeah, I was actually in a, I was in a guild that, uh, we got together really late. Pretty much we got together right when Black Temple was released.
Okay.
Um, and we started running through, all the, content that was available. We eventually, we eventually made it to, Black Temple, and we were starting to raid Black Temple right when ZA came out. And, yeah, it was fun. But that was a lot of raiding. That was like 4 nights a week of raiding back then just to
Yeah.
barely get done with,
Oh, we know.
uh yeah.
Even yeah, we didn't raid in TBC, but we went back to raiding in Wrath and went right back to the 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Oh, it's painful sometimes when I think about how much time I spent.
Just beating your
But
head against a wall.
we did do Yogg Saron, 4 lights up, and we did do we did Saffron. Is it Saffron? Damn it. No, it's not Saffron. I always forget it. We did 3 Drakes up, and Mel got the Drake.
Oh, that's Satharian.
Yeah, Satharian. We did that too. We
How
only
did I
did that
remember that?
once, and Mel freaking got the Drake. But sorry, derailing. Let's get back. So we don't have a ton
Alright.
more time, so let's.
Okay, but yeah, in Hyjal, none of the bosses are particularly hard. The trash is much harder. Learning who to send where is going to be the hardest thing. The trash from and the trash to the fourth boss, those 8 waves, those are going to be the place where I think a lot of people are struggle, mainly because there are a lot of infernals that come down. So warlocks have to banish, and then you have to kill them pretty quickly because they have a damage aura that really stacks up quickly. They can kill Thrall. They can do lots of stuff that just makes anytime Thrall dies or Jaina dies, you have to start at wave one again for
For at
so
least just the trash,
Ugh.
right?
yeah, for the trash for
God, I
the
hope we
current
can
boss
buff
you are
them.
on. The really
So
um
okay, so should healers then keep their focus on like should you split up heals and have their focus on
not
those NPCs?
not really
Their
unless because
focus target so that they can
like
see
maybe
their
have a
life at all times.
yeah, maybe have like one or two of them have a focus on Thrall or Jaina just in case. But the Alliance camp is pretty small and compact. If you like the Horde camp is probably 3 or 4 times as big, and with more
Oh, that
NPCs.
seems very consistent with the population right now.
Way to bring
uh,
it back.
yeah, that's it's called there's some comedy rule that says that yeah, you want to bring it all back to the same joke over and over. But
It's actually podcast 101, like to bring up jokes you made earlier in the pod, later in the pod, and to like play back on them. Like I mean, it's podcast 101.
I need to stop drinking then because I don't remember what jokes I made 10 minutes
Yeah,
ago.
I'm bad at it
I
Um,
too,
don't either.
but Mel and Yip are really good at it.
but yeah, like it's just Hyjal. Once you get the trash down, the bosses aren't too hard. The third boss is literally just a DPS check. All it did, his big mechanic is he puts a mark out that drains pretty much 3,000 mana. If you run out of mana, you explode and do lots of damage. You die and explode, and everyone around you takes a ton of damage. So you just have to be able to like you Mel. You will have to be in the Shadow Priest group for probably your first kill of that one.
Yes.
But your mana is going to be just
See,
disappearing
bringing it
because
back.
he starts putting this mark out like faster and faster. So it's like it's a soft enrage timer. But get Thrall involved in that fight. Thrall will help you kill him.
We also have a lot of innervates. We have a couple, uh, well, we have one feral druid too that usually innervates me halfway through the fight, and I love you, Mira, for that. Thank you. But I hear that this next tier of raid is very easy. And it's not gonna be anything compared to SSC and TK.
It's
Well,
from what I've seen, it's not.
What?
let him
Like,
finish his.
oh no, it's all right. She's like I tend to ramble if that's not obvious, and trying to focus me isn't a bad thing. Um,
Ah,
uh, the fourth boss, all you have to do is deal with a curse of doom that kills someone. Like once you can learn how to do that, and if your raid can dodge rain of fires, you should be fine.
Wait, so a
really
curse
fun.
of doom that just actually, like, once it's on the person, like, it's just like, it's over, like, you're gonna
Uh,
die at the end
in
of it?
si in 60 seconds, you die and you spawn a Doom Lord or a Dread Lord or whatever. I don't remember what it's called. But once you just take him to the side, it's 60 seconds. It's like the Curse of Doom. So you have time. If it's someone like a healer, soul stone them. They go to the side, die. They spawn the Doom Lord, kill the Doom Lord. Uh, they res back up, just go back into the fight. That's it.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
Does, does what's his name have a weak aura out for tier 6 also? Forget the guy that did the weak aura for SSC and TK. Uh, uh, Thames.
Maybe
Thames.
we use that too. I don't know. I haven't looked for it yet.
Okay, I hope there's one for this too, because like it would tell you, hey, you have the Doom, would make it a lot easier for people.
Yeah, first said there is one, but it's kinda broken at the moment.
I assume it's going to take probably a lot of work over the next couple of weeks, and I assume it'll probably be in pretty good working order by the time we have an announced date. But then in Black Temple, uh, weirdly enough, last night I was just looking for a group to go in because I created an Ellie Shaman. I wanted to see what that was like, and I got into this group, and then I noticed, oh, that's somebody named Def Camp. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably not him. But then I looked up and I was like, wait, that's Ale. And then I looked on Discord. The Discord I was like, wait, that's Ale. He and I have literally been on like 5 or 6 podcasts together.
Nice. Yeah,
So
he was gonna come on tonight too, but I think I said that earlier, but he's coming on next week.
yeah, I talked to him in Def Camp and we had a good time. We killed the first 4 bosses in Black Temple. Uh None of them are hard. Absolutely none. Like we wiped more on trash. Oh, in fact, we only wiped on 1 boss, and that was a boss we had no business wiping on. That
Do
was
you
like the
think
3rd
that
one.
the reason people wipe on trash is because they're not expecting it to be as hard, or do you think it's actually that trash is harder?
I think it's because
People
there's a
don't
lot
care.
of people aren't focused for trash, and there's
Right,
a lot of opportunities. Like, while trash isn't, like, dangerous, it's dangerous, but it's only dangerous if you're not paying attention.
right.
Since when people aren't focused, yeah, like, they break sheeps. They hit multi-shot when they shouldn't. They do
Warlock's
any
multi-dot.
yeah, there's
Right. So when we say like trash is hard, it's really like trash is just not AFKable.
yes. Well, like, when we were clearing, the first boss, the only thing you have to do is have more than 8,500 HP. That's the only requirement to kill that boss. The second boss, be able to dodge fires and run away. The trash from the second to the third boss is actually some of it's challenging because there's a lot of them, and there are a lot of little mechanics that if you screw up one, you can wipe. Like there's one that AoE silences. It's called a defiler. Kill it first, and it's a it's a cone silence. So don't let it face your healers. That's pretty much it. Uh, but again, that can wipe you if your healers are silenced for an inopportune time. Other than that, like Shade of Akama is the third boss. You bum rush some mobs and kill them really fast. That's literally it. It's not tough. The fourth boss, Gorefiend. Once you There's a game that I will send you the link to, Bob.
We,
Um,
uh, we we have it.
oh, you
We
guys
have
have
it,
it?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was one of the add-ons of the week.
yeah. If you can do that, you can handle the actual boss. Because the boss is not. He can clap pretty hard, but other than that, it's not a terribly complex fight. Um, Reliquary is a little difficult, but again, it's just learning certain mechanics. It shouldn't take you longer than maybe 5, 6 attempts. I hesitate to say that because I say that now, and my guild's going to be stuck on it for a night and a half. But Blood Boil, not hard. The trash is time consuming, and there's a lot of it. Uh, I actually killed Mother Shiraz today, right before I actually came on here. If you have, we actually needed Shadow Resist to kill Mother Shiraz. It's a pretty intense healing check. I think that's going to probably be the first boss that a significant amount of people have trouble on. Illidari Council, I got one attempt in on that before I had to go eat dinner with my family and, get ready for a podcast. But yeah, tier 6 is definitely significantly easier than tier 5 until we get to Sunwell. Then it's crazy harder than tier 5. So,
Well, cool. Yeah. I mean, I honestly was just expecting you to give us like, how you felt about it, but you gave us like some insight on
oh, sorry.
like the mechanics. Oh no, it's great. Yeah,
Oh.
that's why I wasn't gonna stop you, but you definitely overperformed for me. So thank you.
Mhm. Hey,
Well, you're
question
welcome.
though.
Sure.
Is there a bunch of resists that, because I know people have talked about you need this
Shadow.
resistance
Yeah.
for, yeah, shadow for some
Sure.
boss?
Um, if you recall back in Hyjal, I was talking about there was a boss that drains mana. If you have
Mhm.
Shadow Resist, you can resist that effect. So
Okay.
it's easier on healer's mana if you have Shadow Resist there. Mother Shiraz, we only tried like 2 or 3 times without Shadow Resist, so we didn't really give it a whole try. But once we put on Shadow Resist, it was trivially easy. Like we killed it the first time.
I've
Got it.
I've heard like so Sarth and Crix kind of talked about it on their podcast. Shout out to Crix and Sarth and their new podcast, Classic Life. Should be available on podcatchers soon, but if you want to see it now, you can check Sarth or Crix YouTube. It's called Classic Life. It's really good, but they talked about it's kind of like Nax and Saffron, where you can have a couple people not using Shadow Res and really pumping and parsing, but if you have everybody without it, it's going to kind of turn into a problem, which is the same way Saffron was.
The big mechanic on Shiraz is that she teleports 3 people away, and they start exploding and they do like 2,500 damage per second to each other, like as long as you are near each other. So you have to get away from each other as fast as you possibly can. Um, if you have Shadow Resist, it's way easier because you're not taking nearly as much damage. But like the first few times we did that, people were just dying left and right because they weren't prepared for how quick it was, and people still like to hold hands when we run places.
I want to hold your hand.
Oh
Sorry.
my god.
It's a wonderful song. Um, but like once you put the shadow resist on, like we were running slowly away from each other and we were doing just fine. Um, Shiraz can still do quite a bit of damage to your tanks though, so you're gonna have to have probably your best healers on them. Um, Other than that, make
So
sure you.
me. Yeah. Got it.
So my last question is, because I don't know this, because I never rated this, and there's so much talk about the Warglaves. Now, Who can drop the Warglaives? Is it like
It's
an
Illidan.
instant? Okay, it's only Illidan.
Yeah. They are a just they have like a 3 to 4% chance to drop.
Now, and I've heard it's a separate drop
Yeah,
from
they
the
you
regular loot, so it would be a bonus loot that dropped,
I th
correct?
I think so, but both of them can drop at the same time. Like, it's very, very rare, but both of them can drop. So, like, you could conceivably like yeah, they're just and they're really, really good,
So,
especially considering they do extra damage to demons, and that's all of Sunwell. So,
Warrior Prio or Rogue Prio?
it depends on the guild and whoever's better.
Well,
If you have a good Fury Warrior that's better than the rogue you have, give them to your Fury Warrior.
see,
And
what I think is for PvE, regardless, it's going to be better for your raid and the warrior's hands, but a warrior can't use them for PvP. Whereas a rogue who's maybe a glad can really use them for PvP.
if
Yeah,
if you
but
have
you
a
should only give loot based on PvE reasons, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
You
I
should give loot to the person that's gonna help you progress the best, is my
I'll
feelings.
I'll say this, any legendary, in my opinion, is a reward, for someone for all the work they've done for your guild.
I would
It's
agree completely.
like because anytime you can create a legendary, you're already done progressing.
Right.
It's a shiny reward, and the Warglaives are very, very shiny. They're
Yep.
very pretty.
You gave the perfect answer that I was looking for. It depends on the guild and who has done the most and basically who deserves it the most, not how much is going to help your raid. Because if you're going by how much is going to help the raid, you give it to the best non-flaky Fury Warrior, and you probably only have one.
It all depends. Like your guild might be. There was back in Classic. There was a guild that had, I think, 7 Thunder Furies in between 2 raids on the server I was on. So some guild on
It's a
your
good thing
server.
Yip's not on this podcast. He had
We had
one
one.
part of the Thunder Fury for a very long time.
We only had one Thunder Fury until 8Q, and we had 2 raids that were together since like months before BWL.
Yeah, we had two warriors. I forget when Corpse got his. We got a Thunder Fury pretty early for our main tank executive, and then Corpse got his. I think it was around the AQ time. It might have been before AQ, but then we had a tank Sylve who got one of the bindings, but then Sylve decided not to tank anymore, and Yip started tanking, and then Yip got the other binding. Sylve quit, and then Yip never got the other binding. So we technically
Oh,
got 3 Thunder Furies, but we only crafted 2.
oh, geez, that's rough for Yip. Uh, but yeah, I'm not sure on the theory crafting of who's like who it's better for technically. I know Fury Warriors are really, really, really useful in on a fight like Muru. Because on Muru you need a lot of cleave damage
Well,
and
yeah, okay, so I'll just answer the question for you. I've actually looked into it quite a bit, like I was just asking, but it definitely for PvE across the board, it's better for warrior to get it because you are factoring in the trash and
yeah.
rogues just can't do it. Now, single target fight, a rogue actually does benefit more than a fury warrior, but a rogue is not worth as much in TBC across the board than a warrior is. And that's why the majority of the speedrunning guilds aren't even taking a rogue into raid. So like,
I
that's
think it
why it's
depends
better,
on
but, like,
your
most
level of
guilds
player
are
too, right?
taking rogues, like, at least 1
Yeah,
rogue and maybe 2.
we have
Well, I
two.
think it depends on the
We
level
have
of
2
player.
also.
Like, if you have a better rogue than a warrior, you wanna give it to the rogue instead of your, like, "Meh," warrior, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
I'm just talking, like, across the board numbers wise, you're
numbers wise,
going to
yeah.
get more
Like, if they were
benefit out of
equal
a
in skill level, yeah.
If it,
yeah,
in an ideal situation, they're better for a warrior. Um,
but they're worthless for a warrior in PvP, and so that's another factor you gotta take in. So, I think the best answer is it depends on your guild and who has put in the most work.
do you guys actually have a fury warrior?
Our guild leader has swapped to Fury Warrior,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, he has.
but I still, if it's up to me, it goes to our rogue Casimo because he's been that guy since launch that's ready to run any heroic with anybody. He's helped countless members or people that have swapped roles get their attunements. I mean, the guy is just always helping. He helps trade people in PvP and arena. The guy's always on, always ready to help. Any alt, he comes and just helps with with Circle of Blood, like the guy, if it was up to me, they would be his, period.
sounds like he has, his plan has, like, come full into fruition.
And it's gonna be a
Um,
bummer if he doesn't get him because he has really I mean, you just have to look at the whole overall picture, and he has done so much for everyone daily.
yeah, that's yeah. Like I said, you apparently agree with me. Like legendaries are a reward; they're not actually like something for progression. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's my experience on the PTR. I haven't actually attempted Illidan yet. I know there are plenty of people that have killed him. Uh, I, I think I might try to do that tomorrow, but I don't know if I'm actually going to get to it. I've spent enough time. I've have like 4 different characters. I've been in Black Temples several times and Mount Hyjal a couple times. It's yeah. I think you the PTR is really useful. You can learn a lot, but it's not reality. It's still you're still gonna have to do it with your guild, so don't burn yourself out on it doing that.
Right.
Awesome, awesome. Well, it's been another epic episode, and thank you so much for coming on, Nate. I had an add-on of the week, but I'm gonna save it for next week because I kind of want Yip here to see if he's tried it out too. So we're gonna bench that for next week, and we're gonna start closing out the show. So don't forget to follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded. You can follow the Mash Those Buttons Network at the Mash Network. We still want your WoW stories, want your emails, your correspondence. Send those to WCRpodcast at gmail.com. If you'd like to join our Discord, it's mash.gg/discord, and that is all of the different podcast discords, so you can check out any host from any podcast there. Make sure to ping us if you want us to answer. Sorry about that. We have to we have to monitor a lot, so just make sure to ping us. How can you help the podcast? Well, I haven't said this in a while, but you need to go into Walmart or Target, whichever you prefer,
No.
and just yell, "I love Warcraft Reloaded," and just just like say it loud and proud. But if you're not willing to do that, at least tell your guild about us and see if maybe some people might enjoy our trials and tribulations, our guests, whatever we do. Just, tell them. That's the best way. The last way, of course, is iTunes reviews and reviews on warcraftradio.com/directory. If you just go to warcraftradio.com, you can get to the directory by clicking the link, and you can leave a review there. All right, that pretty much ends it out. Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at MelOverwatch.
Awesome,
Kind of.
awesome.
Or
And
you can find me on Bob's. Do not interrupt
sorry,
me.
sorry, sorry, sorry.
You can find me on Bob's stream at Blazing Bob. Twitch.tv/BlazingBob. Yep, there, doing
Awesome.
hardcore. At night, not during the day.
Yep, yep. And Naismith, I know you don't have any socials, but do you want to give a shout out to anybody or
Uh,
anything?
sure. Shout out to my guild on Earth Fury Stuck in Combat. Uh, if anyone wants to track me down there, you can talk to me. I'm Naismith, the Warlock on Earth Fury. I'll talk pretty much to anybody. It's been weird that a couple people have actually recognized me from podcasts like this. It's a very surreal feeling.
It is a surreal feeling. Like it first started happening to be the start of TBC on like, it happened now and again prior, but like start of TBC in BGs, it was happening quite often. And now like on the hardcore server, it happens quite often. People are like, "Whoa, hey, you're the podcast dude."
Can I just mention that Bob gets recognized way more than I do? Like, what is this trend? Like, why don't people know me? Why do people always know Bob? Even if I'm with Bob, it's like Bob and I's duo, and they're like, Bob from Warcraft Reloaded. And I'm like, hey, over here.
What am I,
What about
chopped liver?
me? Come
I
on.
I think I think they do notice you. I
Oh,
don't think that's
yeah.
true. But
Oh, mm-hmm.
but yeah, also if you want to find Naismith on Discord, is it okay to tell him to check out Josh's
Yeah,
the Countdown to Classic Discord? Josh hasn't put out an episode in a while since his Blizzard interview. I think he's just gearing up for something great is what I'm hoping. So I'm hoping there's more, but you can join the Countdown to Classic Discord and probably find Naismith there fairly easy.
I am a moderator on that Discord, so it's pretty easy to find me there. Yeah, go ahead and track me down there. It's easy. I'll talk, like I said.
Awesome, awesome. And if you want to find me, you can get me on Twitter at blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. If you want me on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/blazingbob, but no underscore. So come check us out. Chat's been actually really cool. Like it's a small, quaint little chat, somewhere around 8 to 15 people. But you know what? That's the perfect time to ask questions because I can answer. So come in, say hi, hang out with us, and yeah, we're gonna get out of here for this week. Make sure to tweet at Yip at the Yip Show. Please tell him to get better and that you missed him because I definitely missed him, and I'm sure you did too.
Well, they probably didn't miss him. Oh.
All
I
right,
miss him.
bye guys. All right, we can you can stop your local recording. I'm gonna see about raiding somebody. Oh, we're definitely gonna raid Winky. Doing F's in the chat. Tell him Warcraft Reloaded said hi. And we love you guys.
Goodbye.
About to raid and raiding.
Find me in Tyrannosaurus streams.